Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third edition of our virtual elevator nights. I'm Dan Fleyshman, and my lovely co-host is Casey Fleyshman, better known as CaseyLovesFitness. So over the last 6 years, we've thrown elevator nights in person with 300 to 1,000 people each time. We've thrown that event 38 different times, but due to the coronavirus and everybody being locked into our houses, we decided to take this thing virtual and make it for free for you guys every single Sunday. Hopefully we will only be locked in for another 2 to 4 weeks, but if it goes longer, we'll be here every single Sunday, keeping this free for you. Each Sunday, we do a different category. So we've done the business category, we did a sales training category, and this week is the health and fitness category. So we have a dozen speakers tonight, ranging from business owners, fitness influencers, health brand company owners, all to talk to you. Each one will be about 15 to 20 minutes each, and we have 12 speakers for you. Anything you'd like to say, Casey?
No, I'm just ready to get started. This is going to be amazing.
So I'll give you a couple names that we're going to have tonight. We have Drew Canole, Bedros Keuilian, Anna Cherie. Hold on a second. Let me see here. Who else we got?
A lot.
Wow. We have JustTrain, RayCashCares, Mona Muresan, Dribble Too Much, Jeff Fenster from Everbowl, Mike O'Hearn from Todd Abrams from Icon Meals, Mike O'Hearn, the legend, and Nick Santonastasso. So we have a lot of speakers for you tonight. We'll be doing Q&A. We'll also do a lot of cash giveaways, prizes, where we give out Bitcoin, cash. The cash we do via Cash App. Sometimes we'll do PayPal or Venmo, but if you have Cash App, I'm going to have you put in your Cash App code, and I'm going to be paying live, and I'll show you guys as I'm paying live. And then we also give out these 100 Million Academy boxes. These have about $500 worth of things inside, from books, headphones, chargers, a bunch of fun things for entrepreneurs, presented by 100millionacademy.com. Casey's also works with First Form for the last 3-4 years now, since 2016. So we'll have some different First Form supplements for you guys. We'll be giving out some Icon meals. We'll be giving out some Everbowl, Acai bowls that get shipped to your house. A lot of fun cash prizes and physical prices that you can eat or read and enjoy. All right. So the way it works is we're going to be doing Q&A with each of the speakers. So we try to keep it very simple, very straightforward for you. But in here, in the chat, it's really good for us if you could ask business questions, health-related questions, or life questions. So some of these questions we have ready that we're going to ask, but also we want to know what you want to know. We want to find out from you, what would you like to know from from a fitness instructor, a business owner, or somebody in the health field. As each of these people come up, just type in your questions. We'll both be watching, and we're also going to be picking winners from people that ask good questions. So sometimes, even if you don't hear your question being asked, that'll help us choose different winners. Each time we choose a winner, it'll either be 3 to 10 winners at a time. That way we try to give as many different things as we can out each night during these 3 hours. So in 1 minute, we're going to bring on Drew. Please, anything?
No, this is great. Definitely, I think we're going to get some good questions in here. So I like that it's all about health, fitness, nutrition. Keeping it specific would be great. We have people all over the board, people that own nutrition businesses or health businesses, but we also have people that are well known on TV and on social media and stuff. So definitely a lot of good opportunity for great questions from social media to health, nutrition, all that.
Why don't you give them your background? We got 60 seconds left.
Oh gosh, my background. All right, well, I'm Casey Loves Fitness. For those of you who aren't familiar with my social media, I have roughly around 1 million across the board on different social media platforms, and I built that up kind of unconsciously. I have a background as a ballerina. I did that for 17 years, and when I moved to LA, I had no longer been in a ballet company, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't really know how to train properly
10
or
seconds.
how to get into shape. And yeah, I just started doing it. I took it on myself to get certified as a personal trainer, and eventually I decided I wanted to do that for other people as well.
Boom. Casey's bio. All right. So our very first guest, I like to run this thing like a military. We're going to have right on time. All right. So our very first guest, Drew Canole, he's built up a brand called Organifi that's done over $100 million in sales. You've seen their ads. Hopefully you've tasted their products and consumed them. Please welcome Drew.
Hear me?
Oh yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Cool.
And that beard is looking fresh, buddy.
Hey, this is a quarantine beard.
Exactly. It looks good. All right. So if you could, Drew, give us a bit of background on yourself and the business, and then we're going to dive right into questions.
Totally. So 11 years ago, I started a company called Fit TV, and I was just shooting videos on YouTube. I was really passionate about helping people with health, I was making juices and superfoods in the kitchen back before the whole juicing niche blew up and you saw it in every juice bar around the country. And then I wanted to, develop digital courses, sold millions of dollars in digital and in, membership websites, stuff like that. And then I was, what can I do? What physical product can I actually deliver to people to make a difference, more of a difference in their life? And that's when 5 years ago we started Organifi. And it was really at a point when the organic reach on Facebook had died out. We were getting 16.5 million hits a month organically, and it was gone. So we had to become marketers. I lost about $500,000 in 9 months, and I was like, letting go of my friends. We had 8 people on the team at the time, and now we have close to 100. Oh. World, giving as much value as possible. We've been voted the best places to work in the country 2 years in a row now, Forbes and Inc. And culture is everything for us. So we just love what we do. We're passionate about health, and we help millions of people all over the world.
That is awesome. So is all of your team in San Diego, or are they spread out?
Most of the team's in San Diego, but we do have people in different states and other contractors and stuff throughout the world as well.
So is Organifi sold at retail, or do you do all e-commerce?
Most of it's e-com. We're in about 2,800 stores currently.
Oh, really? So
Vitamin Shop, Sprouts, a lot of naturopath and doctors seek our ingredients out because we use the highest quality. A lot of our ingredients are actually clinically tried and stuff too. So we go above and beyond with what we're creating. It's all organic. We got about 15 levels of certification, glyphosate free, highest level, premium level, best you can buy.
Is there any one core main product that's like your shining star?
So in the beginning, it was green juice, and we used ashwagandha. We were the first green superfood to put ashwagandha, which lowers stress in clinicals, into our superfood powder. So people were getting all kinds of benefits. So for the first 24 months, we only sold green juice. So we went from $7 to $30 million a year just selling green juice in the first 2 years of operation. And then we advanced to red juice, which has cordyceps and acai and some other ingredients. And then gold, which is turkey tail and reishi, great for winding down the day. And we created the sunrise to sunset bundle. And now we're bundling different programs and packages for people to really change their lives that way.
I have a feeling Casey's going to be buying this stuff tonight.
Yeah, I'm so into
some questions?
Yeah, I was wondering, what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions people have about eating healthy?
One of the biggest misconceptions is that we're all the same, is that there's a certain diet, there's the carnivore diet, there's the Drukan diet, there's the Atkins diet, there's the vegan diet, there's the paleo, there's all these things. And in my experience of becoming a transformation coach 11 years ago, I would actually go into people's homes, charge them $10,000 to $25,000 for a day to really rip apart their cabinets and their pantries and do a genetic test, look at their blood markers, have my naturopath doctor and my acupuncturist and my board of advisors for my body look at their blood, the way that they use, and their metabolism is using the fuel that they're giving their body. And what we realized is that every single person is different, right? You look at allele tests, you look at allergies. A lot of people are just chronically inflamed because they're allergic to 2 or 3 different foods. So once we get the data, then we can put together the right information for every single person. And it's really just a customized approach. There's no diet for one person. Diets die. For
sure. No, that's great. So as you said, I know that everybody's different, so everybody should have a different nutrition and fitness plan. Is there any maybe like top 3 foods or beverages or additives though that you've seen kind of generally across the board that you think that people should probably remove from their diet and would make like the biggest impact on them?
Yeah, I think the biggest things are sugar, dairy, wheat, artificial sweeteners, any gluten. I would, try to get rid of. Some people do okay on it, but looking at, hundreds of different tests, most of the time it's inflammatory on some level. Over 10 to 20 years, you're talking inflammation in the body, and it's just better to avoid it, really.
I couldn't agree more.
So,
on that same note, what are like the biggest, most common deficiencies that you're seeing coming from the American diet that most of us are on?
Yeah. So one thing that I do is I try to get about 25 to 30 different types of food every single week. So I think as Americans, sometimes we become complacent in certain foods. and we'll eat the same thing day in and day out, right? Expecting different results. So in looking at microbiome and gut flora and all these things, if you get about 25 to 30 different types of food, so fermented foods, different types of greens, when you're rotating your veggies, even if you're making smoothies, you don't want to have the same kale every day, because at 4 days you start to build up a tolerance to it and you're not getting the micronutrient upload that you once would. So rotating through, I'm a big fan of garlic and onions and these immune bolstering foods right now in our present, the way everything's going. So I have a garden. I'm out in the garden every day. I'm sourcing fruits and veggies from there. I don't eat a lot of fruit. Primarily it's berries. It's fruits that have low sugar that also add to brain health or can add to the stem cell and telomerase production in my body. And then I'm eating a lot of fermented foods. So I make kimchi, sauerkraut. So almost at every meal I'm having something fermented, just to help out with my gut microbiota and the overall health.
So is there a certain way you've came up with your price points? Do you consider yourself affordable, medium tier, or high end? And how did you come up with that?
I'd say high end premium. Yeah. At the time when we came to market, there was organic superfoods that were charging $20 to $30 in most Whole Foods and retail outlets. And we were like, if we're going to compete in the direct to consumer space and be online and really give a substantial product that doesn't skimp on ingredients and doesn't add fillers or artificial sweeteners and these other things, then we really need to be right around $65 to $80 per unit. So as a marketer, it's nice to have at least a 5 or a 6x on whatever you're selling, so that you can actually bolster up media spend, right? So that was kind of the model that we were running in the very beginning. And providing the back-end service that a lot of companies aren't doing with their live online coaching. People can call in and talk to our fitness professionals. We have a whole floor of sales professionals that are on the phone with people every single day.
Sure. What do you think is the biggest or most important reason that people should implement supplements into their day-to-day living?
Yeah, I think right now we're bombarded. There's 80,000 new toxins entering our environment every year. And there's foods, and then there's superfoods. There's foods that have been proven with efficacy to be more powerful than other foods. Take, for example, reishi, that's in our gold. It's an 8-to-1 extract, and we use ultrasound technology to get the beta-glucans out of this stuff. And it's absolutely incredible at boosting immune system health. We know it. We've seen it, in the results and the research, everything that's coming in. So I think right now, with all of the toxin load that's in our environment, with all of the radio frequencies that are coming in, with all of the even the thoughts that we have, right? Now there's all this fear on the media that's wrecking people's immune systems. So even and we all know that the placebo effect is real. In 65% of studies, 65% of the time you take a pill, right? And then their health improves from that. So if I am a healthy individual and I'm drinking a green juice every morning, and it's reinforcing to my identity that I'm a healthy person, and it has ashwagandha and all these other things that are obviously adding value, what I'm doing is I'm setting up my day for success too. So I'm choosing things that normally a non-healthy person wouldn't choose. So over time, my identity, if we look at Dolt's pyramid of logical levels, changes. And that's what true transformation is changing on a subconscious level. And that's what we're all about. And so making those right choices to eat healthy every single day can really make a huge difference in our lives.
Powerful. And what do you think, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I don't think a lot of people know really what to expect. Like when you start taking supplements and when you start eating a more nutritionally rounded meal every day, like what are the physical and mental benefits that people generally see from going from a normal like Western diet to something that's much more natural and healthy and then adding supplements in?
I think the noticeable thing for most of the people that I work with is they start training their taste to trim their waist. They're no longer craving the food that their body hates. They're actually craving food that loves their body. And over time, when you develop and you start, craving broccoli as an example, and these other fermented foods that sound woo-woo and crazy to some people, you start eating them and your mental clarity comes back and your energy comes back and your ability to be present, right? I think there's a lot of people walking around in the world and they were looking like zombies, like they're just all over the place because of the nutrients. They're getting macros maybe, and one of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of bodybuilders and people make is they're always lifting, they're building their muscle, but they're eating like 3 or 4 food groups. They're not getting the micronutrients. And science has proven that the micronutrients are some of the greatest things for the neurotransmitter health of our brain, for the rest of our physiology, for our biochemistry. So I would say that.
Do you believe in cheat days?
Cheat days?
You would ask that.
I don't have full-on cheat days anymore, but definitely cheat meals. And I call them treat meals because if we feel like we're cheating ourselves. If we're treating ourselves, then psychologically it's helping our body more than cheating ourselves, because we don't want to cheat ourselves. But eventually over time, your cheat days, it may look like something that is in the air fryer, chicken legs that are a healthier option than buying like KFC or pizza with cauliflower crust versus the traditional dough that we grew up on at Pizza Hut, So over time it evolves. And then your cheat days actually become, whoa, I'm eating so healthy. And I don't like feeling the way that I feel when I have a couple glasses of wine or 3 drinks with my dinner, because it wrecks my HRV, which is my heart rate variability, for 2 or 3 days. And I know this now scientifically. So why would I make that choice? And over time, you just get better and better, dude.
So if I'm a novice, what should I be searching when I decide I want to finally fix what I'm taking in, what I'm eating?
I would say start with the basics. Like we talked about earlier, sugar, dairy, wheat, I'd remove. I would try an elimination diet if you don't want to do the testing, Start simple. Start with maybe a few things. Maybe we have eggs and oatmeal and sweet potatoes and chicken, and we see how we do for a couple weeks, cutting everything else, and then we slowly add things back in and phase it in. Or if you want to take a test to test food allergens, I think it's called the 98 allele test. Or you can do like the microbiome tests online, and they'll give you some examples of what you can eat, what not to eat. So then build your diet from there is what I would say. I'm more of the Weston A. Price model though. I think that's a great book. Look up Weston A. Price. And this guy went around to the whole world documenting the denture, the teeth health of people in just uncivilized places in the world. And he found that people were living longer because they weren't eating all the processed American BS.
This is kind of like the blue zones, right? The blue zones?
Yeah.
It's called? Yeah, there's a lot of
the
great
blue
books.
zones.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dan Buettner.
That's great.
That's a great book too.
So how important is sleep?
The most important thing.
Wow.
Right? You got to become a sleep fanatic. So I'm a sleep fanatic, 55-degree chili pad underneath my bed. I have a grounding mat. It's completely pitch black, right? I got whole tones next to me, so it puts me in a theta state so I can drop deeper. Humidifier in the room, especially because I'm out in Southern California. You want that cooling air. Silk pillow for the ladies so you don't get those fine lines and wrinkles on your face, right?
All right.
You got to go to the next level here.
Wait, I don't think most people know what grounding is. Please share. I love this. It's fascinating.
Yeah, so Mother Earth, the Schumann resonance, or the Hertz frequency of Mother Earth is 7.8, right? So most people are in a Faraday cage all day long. They're in their condo. They don't put their feet on earth. They don't touch the ground, and the ground is the most healing thing for our bodies. It's like Mother Earth is created to help us heal. She rids our body of those negative ions and those things that can cause inflammation in our body and the stress, even on a psychological level. So a grounding mat is something simple. You can get on Amazon, $20-$30. You put it on your bed, you plug it into the wall, and now you're grounded all night long. The big thing, too, is getting rid of the EMFs in your room when you're sleeping. Yeah. So I unplug the Wi-Fi router every night. I don't have my cell phone in the room. Amen. And that really helps a lot. I jump in the cold plunge, or I used to take a cold shower before I had a cold plunge. Anybody can do this. And I lower my body temp because I found that lowering my body temp gives me another hour to an hour and a half of sleep a night, easily. Deep sleep. So I get about 3 to 4 hours of deep REM sleep every night, which is a lot, right? Awesome. But I'm also working out 2 times a day. I'm running 2 businesses. Like, I need sleep. So I would say 8 to 9 hours every single night without fail. And on my HRV that I track with Whoop and the Apple Watch in the Aura at times, I'm always 100% in sleep.
Awesome. I'm going to put in the chat where everybody can go follow you for @DrewCanole, and the brand is called Organifi. If you could, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Drew.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thank
for
you.
having me on. Thanks for putting this together too.
Of course.
Y'all are awesome.
Pleasure.
All right, later.
All right. Our next guest, Mr. Bedros Keuilian. He has built up over 700 franchise locations of his gyms called the Fit Body Bootcamp. He also is a mastermind coach doing events from $500, $1,000, $10,000, $25,000, and $100,000. He has coaching that he's been doing for years and years, and some of it's really, really fun to watch if you go to his page. Casey and I love seeing, sometimes he takes Navy SEALs, like one of our speakers later today, and they'll take guys out there onto the beaches and really run them through it.
They're not playing around.
Yeah, they're not playing around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Bedros Keuilian.
What's up, guys? What's up, Casey and Dan? Thanks for having me on, guys.
How's it going? How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing fantastic. Hey, real quick before we jump in, can I address Miguel Diaz, who just asked a question in chat?
Of course.
Cool. Miguel asked, he says, hey, I'm a fitness trainer with 200 clients. With the times right now, people being short on coin, how do I convince my clients the importance of supplements? I think I'm qualified to speak on this since I'm the founder and CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp.
Yep.
800 Fit Body Bootcamp locations worldwide. We have thousands, hundreds of thousands of clients. And here's what we do, Miguel. Number one, we actually have a weekly show that we do in a private Facebook group to all our clients, educating them. Education leads to consistency in your client, right? Educating them on the benefits of, that's what this is. This is an education webinar we're doing. So educate them on a weekly basis using a Facebook Live or something in a private group. Number two, work it into their nutrition plan. If you're their fitness trainer, you're obviously giving them a diet plan to follow, a nutrition plan to follow. Work it into their nutrition plan, and therefore it becomes a habit. When something becomes a habit, it coincides with their belief system of health and fitness, and now it's locked and loaded. So that's how you do it, and that's how we sell our supplement line, Truly, to hundreds of thousands of Fit Body Bootcamp clients worldwide. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
Let's do it.
All right, so I think we already got the bio on you. Everybody knows Bedros. Go follow his page. The guy's been coaching people, teaching people, building up franchises. But what I want to talk to you about is you've been one of my favorite pages to watch in your Instagram story specifically through this entire quarantine process. Your mindset and the way you've been explaining to people about what to do and why has been fantastic. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So for about 3.5 years now, I've been talking about the winter is coming. The winter is coming. And look, part of it, people are like, hey, look, man, you're a paranoid former communist. When you come from a communist country to the United States, of course you're going to be paranoid. Of course you think something bad's going to happen. And you're always telling people to be prepared. But the reality is we see that the economy is cyclical. And I'm a believer that you're only as prepared to the level of your training. And so I'm always training twice a day. Funny that Drew Canole was just on there. And by the way, folks, success leaves clues. So if Drew's training twice a day, I'm training twice a day. And if you see a pattern here, you might start to realize that you might need to train twice a day, but not just to be physically tough, but really to build a mental and emotional toughness as well. Because now that the economy has taken a dump because of the coronavirus, we're really seeing who's a poser and who's a player in real life, who's emotionally resilient and who's emotionally reactive. And emotionally reactive people do knee-jerk reactions, start firing people. As you and I started texting actually 2 days after the lockdown in LA in March, well, you were like, dude, I can't believe people can't even pay their employees for a month. I'm like, dude, exactly. And then, of course, we see that if you pivoted, you're actually doing better. Like our companies are doing better. I've got 5 companies, 4 of them are doing better, one's doing the same. So that in mind, I really believe that if you are always prepared, then you don't have to go and get prepared later. And so I kind of believe in the winter is coming mindset, and winter now has come. And those of you who are trying to prepare now might be a little too late. But always watch the people around you. What is Dan doing? What am I doing? What are the people on this show doing? Because odds are we're probably doing something right.
That's awesome. You're definitely one of the most inspirational people that I know. We obviously both love watching you and seeing what you're up to. I think generally I'm curious, like, what is your why? What really gets you up every day, especially on the days that are really tough? Like, what gets you up and motivates you to move through the day and still be positive and still help and motivate people and get your own stuff done?
That's a really good question, Casey. The biggest why for me is that I'm absolutely overly compassionate. Some people will say I'm compassionate to a fault. Keep in mind, and I've talked about this on social media. Look, man, I was molested as a kid in Armenia, in a communist country. When I came here, I was bullied by people because I didn't speak English. I didn't understand the culture. We ate out of dumpsters because we were broke. We lived in Section 8 housing. Some of the housing we lived in, apartments we lived in, it was so bad I had lice, and my mom had to wash my hair with gasoline. And so, because we couldn't afford lice treatment, so she had my dad siphon out gas from a parked car and wash my hair with gasoline. I share that with you because when you have gone through a lot of adversity, you begin to just let go of your armor and get fully vulnerable and authentic. And that's constantly what I hear from people. Man, you're so vulnerable, you're so authentic. When you've gone through this shit your whole life, that's all you can be. And you end up getting so compassionate and empathetic towards people. And I just care. I care because I suffered so much as a young boy that I don't want to see anyone suffering now. Not in business, not in their relationships, not in their health, not in their mindset. And so sometimes I sound like a tyrant when I'm just beating that thing like prepare. But finally everyone's like, oh my God, you were right for the last 3.5 years. That's my big reason why.
So powerful. I think that a lot of people believe that people in your position, people that have become successful, maybe got lucky. I obviously, listening to your story and knowing your background, that I don't think luck really played as much of a part in it as people want to believe. So what do you think it really is that made you as successful at being an entrepreneur as you are?
You know what? I'm not that smart. I dropped out 38 days into junior college. I barely made it out of high school with a 1.9 GPA. I had to beg them to let me walk so my parents could see me get a diploma in high school. The thing I've got going for me is I'm always coachable. I'm always looking for someone to coach me, mentor me, give me guidance, and I'm willing to pay for it. I'm willing to go broke to get coached. A lot of people are willing to go broke to get a car so they can flash, to get a pool in their backyard, to go on a vacation and take pictures and put on Instagram. And I'm not judging you, but I'll go broke to get mentoring and coaching. So that's always been a big asset for me because I show up as a white belt. I'm always willing to learn. And I think luck favors people who are willing to learn and get coached.
So at the Fit Body Bootcamps, would you consider yourselves affordable, mid-tier, or high-end price point, and why?
I would definitely say we're mid-tier. I think affordable would be like a $29, $99 program. Fit Body Bootcamp is personal training, except in a group environment. Like we track measurements, we track macros, we do body fat testing every month. And so we do everything that a personal trainer would do, which is why we don't even call it classes. I mean, you could get a class for free at 24 Hour Fitness or LA Fitness. These are sessions, just like a one-on-one personal training sessions, except they're 20-1, 25-1, meaning the ratio of clients to trainers. And we deliver the results. We do one thing, we do it better than anybody else. We deliver fat loss results to women who are typically moms and not the Instagram models. Like we know who our avatar is and we really speak to them. And you know, the fitness people watching this, like, can you speak this well to about your clients? Like we have 0 mirrors in our Fit Body Bootcamp locations because they don't want to see themselves in the mirror. They just don't. We don't do anything with jumping jacks or anything, any box jumps, because if you've had a baby and you're a woman, guess what? You're probably going to pee yourself if you do jumping jacks. That's the reality. So we know our avatar, their fears, frustrations, desires. We know her so well. We know what keeps her awake at night, that we tailor our workouts to her and we repel everyone else.
So is there anything that you feel like now that we've all been in quarantine and this whole corona thing is happening, is there anything specifically that you feel like you're doing differently that could make people more successful in just their day-to-day life if they implemented it or stopped doing something else that they're doing right now?
Yeah, good question. So especially again, if Miguel is a byproduct of the type of people that are watching here, like fitness people, wellness people who want to obviously get clients. And right now it's hard to get clients. And I think I shared this last week too. Right now, just fill up the Goodwill bank account. Fill up the Goodwill bank account by putting good content, by inspiring, motivating. Everybody watching this right now, you're a leader. If you have a employee or if you have more than 1 or 2 clients, you're a leader. You lead people. Hell, you lead yourself, even if you're just a one-person show. Leaders, the number one job of a leader is to distill hope. If you can distill hope, the person will go one more day. The reason people commit suicide, by the way, is because they feel there is no more hope, there is no light at the end of the tunnel, and I must now exit this earth. So if we can distill hope right now through content, by adding value, by engaging more than we ever have. Andy Frisella says something. He says, success is found in inefficiencies. I really believe now is the time to be inefficient. Like actually text and DM with people back and forth. Don't just say, do you want to buy my program? But how's it going? Are you able to sleep at night? What's stressing you out? What are your fears right now? When people know how much you care, they begin to see that, hey, when I do have money, I will spend it with you, because things will turn around. It's just not going to be tomorrow.
So somebody asked, how do you get investors if let's say they want to do a franchise, how do they get investors for a franchise?
Good question. So if, first of all, the SBA always has money. Like right now, they're really giving it away. But you always want to go to banks and investors or SBA first. If not, then you typically will want to go to friends and family first, and then you go to clients, and then network. I kind of look at it as a bullseye. Friends and family, the first bullseye. The next ring is kind of people in your clients that you might have, friends. And then, of course, you have your network of people. Like I know Dan, I know Ed, I know this person, Tom Bilyeu. I think I might go to them and be like, hey, man, I've got this idea. Now I'm going to say, I've got the idea. I need you to put in the money, and I'm going to put in the sweat equity, and here's what you get. And you do zero work. So the person that's looking for the investor, you better make it really delicious for the investor, because don't think it should be 50-50. It might be more like 80-20. Yeah.
Do you think it's worth it for people to reach out to bigger names or more successful people such as you via Instagram or email to try and see if they can bounce ideas off of you or get investments, or do you think that's not worth their time?
Quite honestly, I don't think it's worth their time. And here's why. I'm going to tell you why. Okay. When someone always says, I want to pick your mind, I always say, look, they think they only have one or two questions to ask. What they don't realize, and Dan, you can back me up on this, that one or two questions are going to lead to 3 or 4 more questions, because I'm going to want to know some clarification. Like, what kind of business do you have? What sector? Like, are you on part of the supply chain, or are you part of the receiving end? And so I'm not going to go back and forth 8 to 10 times. And if I give you one simple answer, it might not be the right answer. And so it makes sense that I dedicate my time to my paying clients and to my family. And 1 or 2 questions, when someone says I only have one question, they don't realize that one question, if I'm going to be a good coach, and I always try and be, I'm going to ask 5 more follow-up questions to really mentor you. And before you know it, I'm going to ask for money.
That's awesome. I think it just goes back to what you were saying of like, you have to be worth paying for something that's worthwhile kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
By the way, to that point, most people, they don't realize how they can aggregate information from YouTube, Google, and Instagram. Like, the information's here for free.
Right.
The difference is you have to do the work and find it. So it's also a little insulting when you're reaching out to a Dan or me or whoever and like, hey, bro, how do I da-da-da-da-da? What value have you added to my life? Why should I answer that question for you and do any kind of follow-up when I've got clients that are paying me $50,000 to $100,000 a year? And so we need to kind of realize that. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just telling you the truth.
So you do large-scale events as well, separate from the private coaching. During those large-scale events, what's the interaction like during those?
During the live scale events, I make myself available like until the last person goes to sleep. So I will literally get off stage, plant myself in front of the stage, or if there's another speaker, like when you spoke at Empire Business Summit, I'll be in the hallway, shaking hands, answering questions as long as it takes. And if someone's got multiple questions back to back, I'll say, hey, go wait over there. I'm going to shake hands, take pictures, and then I'll come to you and coach you, mentor you. Because if I'm in San Diego or wherever I'm putting on the event for a 3-day period, I will stay awake all 74 or 72 hours, whatever it is, and help coach you, mentor you, guide you. Like, you've paid for my time. I'm there to serve. But if I've got my family around, or if I've got coaching clients around, and you want to pick my mind, like my pet peeve these days is when people go, hey, Bedros, instead of a picture, they go, can you just say a few words and they want to put you on their channel? It's like, no, bro, we're not doing a video. Like, that's not what this is about. Again, I don't want to sound like an a-hole. It's just, that's where I am in life right now.
We got 15 seconds left. Where can people go find you in the business?
Good question. The best place to find me is manup.com or on Instagram. And then if I can give away something really cool from the guy that gave me this shirt, RayCashCares, the Navy SEAL, gave me this Conquer shirt. I'm going to steal his thunder right now. You guys can go to the LTDproject.com/webinar and get, the LTDproject.com/elevator to get 3 workout finishers from Navy SEAL Ray Care. I wanted to steal his thunder from him. And but honestly, he by the way, Ray's an awesome coach, an awesome trainer. He'll be on here next or in a few hours, and he'll crush it.
Awesome. Bedros, always a pleasure. It's good seeing you. Good talking to you. Have a good night.
Take care, guys. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Our next guest is Casey's best friend. She's built up her own gym. She's built up over 12 million followers on Instagram. Also another 3 or 4 or 5 million on Facebook, and a million here, a million there. She's built up half a dozen different platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miss Anna Cherie.
Okay, so I have been a social influencer for the last, 7 years. 6 months after Instagram started, that's when I jumped on. And I was actually doing my first NPC bikini competition, and that's how I got into fitness. And over posting so many different workouts and basically the lifestyle that I had, people started following me, and then modeling happened, and then everything just kind of came together. And a year into Instagram, Ben and I actually decided to open our own gym, and we've been building a community there that has been all about positivity and helping each other. And 2 years after that, that's when I decided to start my own activewear line, Cherie Fit, and that's kind of where we're at today.
So, business question: how do you decide your price points for Cherie Fit?
So we actually did a lot of, first of all, you have to know your audience. So when we originally came out, we had a higher price point because we wanted to be comparable to, a Lululemon or an Alo Yoga, which they were only online when we actually first started launching our brand. But we figured out that our audience was not at that price point. So after a few different trial and errors for releasing certain products and giving them certain prices, we figured out that our price point is just under like a Gymshark brand or another like higher end online e-com activewear line.
Question?
Yeah. So jumping into the social media part of it, how do you choose what parts of your life you show on social media and maybe what other parts you keep private?
So I actually learned that a long time ago. It's up to you what you decide to put out there. And once it's out there, it's out there. So I knew that I wanted to highlight obviously my modeling and my fitness and the fact that I was an entrepreneur, and my husband and I travel. So we do a lot of lifestyle, and I wanted to make sure that I shared just enough to be comfortable, but I'll never post like my family or anything that's like that I just want to keep private and to myself. But everything else in my life I'll share.
Do you remember there ever being any specific moment that you realized you would become kind of like a pioneer on social media? Do you remember the moment you were like, whoa, this is really taking off, and what that was like?
I think I was one of the first influencers to hit 1 million followers. And it was right around that time that my friend Jay, Live Rich Media, he's like, we have to shoot a video for you. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. So we did it, and it went viral. And that was the first time that I had like an epiphany of like, oh my God, like this is something huge. Like I had been using it as a business from the very beginning. But when that happened and that video came out, and then I grew, I think it was like to almost like 1.5 million within a week. I was like, whoa, this is impressive and getting crazy. So that was the moment that I was like, this is something real.
So how do you decide what kind of rates as a social media influencer? Like if somebody wanted to buy posts, not necessarily buying from you, but if somebody wants to buy posts from an influencer, how do you determine your rates to charge a brand?
Okay, so if you're an influencer, you have to look at first what the product is. So if it's something that falls within your, basically we call it like your brand or something that fits what you do. Like if I'm a health and fitness person, I'm not going to post about, I don't know, what's a good example?
Cigarettes.
Like baking or something like that, Like I'm going to post more like about food and exercise and supplements. Again, first form, like stuff that falls into my category. And then that can have like more of a normal price rate. But if it is something that's outside of like what I normally do, like let's just say, for example, like, I don't know, teeth whitening kits, I'm probably not going to have a longer run with this company. So I'm going to charge them higher. So if it's something that doesn't come natural to your following or natural to your brand, charge higher or don't do it at all.
All right. Would you give anybody, are there any like tricks or trips, what am I saying? Tricks or like hacks for
It's
getting,
Casey, it's a day.
for getting more like likes and views? Is there anything like coloring wise or when you're posting or how you're posting? Are there any like hacks to getting more views?
So I definitely think that your page should be like your highlight profile, right? Like when somebody goes to your page, it should give them a feeling or teach them something or like bring them some kind of value. So when you're doing your posts, keep that in mind. When you're doing your drafts or you're scheduling out your content, make sure that you're keeping in mind, like personally what I do is I'll jump around a few different posts. I'll do a beauty one and then a health one and then a sexy one and then a fitness one and just kind of alternate what I'm doing. So that way my audience, for everyone who follows me, is going to get a little bit of something. Because the person that follows me for the sexy stuff might not like my beauty stuff, but the person who follows me for the beauty stuff might like my sexy stuff. So you have to make sure you have a little bit of everything for your audience that you've built up.
Awesome.
So is there too much? Like, is there too many brands to work with? Is it better to work with just a few key brands? What do you think in the influencer space? Are some people doing too many brands, or is it okay to just talk about whatever?
So I personally only work with a few brands, and the reason is because I want to use these products and make sure that I believe in these products before I put it out there to my audience, because your audience is going to listen to you and trust you. So if you're just posting ad for a bunch of different companies, they're going to lose faith in what you actually believe in. So I would definitely say make sure, one, it falls into your lane of what you do in your brand, and two, make sure that you really use and believe in the product, because you don't want to use something and then it later comes out that company was a scam or the product doesn't work, because then that's now attached to your brand. It's like, oh, Anne Shree, she advertised that. We're not going to believe her. You have to make sure that whatever you're putting out there, you use and you believe in.
And then from the gym side, how do you think this new world is going to be for personal fitness? Like post-corona, once people are allowed to unlock out of their houses?
So honestly, I think that a lot of people are, one, going to get comfortable with doing online training because that's what we're all forced into doing at the moment. So they're going to get way more comfortable training in their homes, way more comfortable training online. They're probably going to end up going to smaller, more private gyms as opposed to like the big 24-hour fitnesses or like Equinox. They'll find something smaller where there's less people. So I think that it's just going to become more of a one-on-one type of industry where people aren't going to be kind of just going out and doing their own thing. They're going to be like looking for a smaller group of people to work out with, or like a one-on-one trainer. And like we've been doing here, because we know people can't come to the gym, we've been hosting online workouts and IG lives on Shree Fit almost like at least 3 to 4 times a week, because we know our fans and audience and members can't get to a gym. They can't go to work out somewhere. So we have to make sure we're there to give them this opportunity to work out while they're at home.
I love that. They are good. I've been watching them. As far as social media, I know there's like so many different platforms. There's always, of course, the main ones, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok now. Do you have a current favorite platform? Do you think everybody should be on all the platforms, or what's kind of your thought there?
I definitely think everyone should be on all the platforms. Even if you're not active on all of them all the time, you should at least have your handle on all the same platforms. Like Dan says, your photo on all the same platforms. Consistency is key. And then try and put out some content on all of them, whether you reuse it and, take a video from Instagram and you put it on TikTok or share it on Twitter. Just make sure that you're spreading your content out across all platforms. So that way, if something happens to one of them, a fallout happens, you still have the other ones as backup.
So I think what's interesting is people need to have social media real estate. So that's why they should own their name on all these different platforms. Maybe TikTok isn't for them now, but later they like it. Maybe they don't like Facebook or Instagram now, but later they like it. It's free. So why not just own your real estate, owning your name on every single platform? Okay, next question is, by the way, not just a question, I truly believe that the private gyms are going to be taking off, because I don't think people will be comfortable at a 24-hour fitness. No offense to them, but I just don't see it the same way, because otherwise they're going to be wearing gloves, wiping everything down every 5 minutes. It's going to be very tough.
It's just not going to be comfortable.
Yeah. You have a question?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So in this new age, will the gym still continue doing virtual? Because I also think that the virtual will still continue on for the rest of 2020 personally.
I definitely think so. I think that it would be silly not to, because you're building up an audience online that might not even be able to get to your own private gym or get to personal training with you. So what you're going to do is, once life gets back to normal or people are released, then you can start offering them like, hey, like, we're still going to do this once a week, but now that we have, you know, our gym up and running again, or now that I'm back to work with all of my clients, I'd love to do a one-on-one session with you. So one, during this time, they can get a ton of free training, and they can see like, okay, I like her training style, I don't like her training style. And then, you know, if they do, and you connect with them and they trust you and they feel like they're getting some results, or they just get a good workout, it's easy to roll that into personal training.
Last question.
Well, I see the most recent question I see is somebody's asking, kind of going back to what we were originally talking about, but do you think that there's like a specific time to post, and is it different now that there's coronavirus, or is it the same as you normally would post to get the most views and interaction?
You know, I honestly think that with the Instagram algorithm, there's like no rhyme or reason to anything nowadays. It depends on who you interact with the most. You'll see their posts. That's just how it is. Definitely use like key hashtags though, like coronavirus or happy at home or quarantine. Maybe like doing stuff like that will help boost your post. But at the same time, I don't think that there's a specific great time to post. Just whatever you find the one that works best for you, and then consistently do that. And even what you can do is put in your bio, like, new post every day at 8 a.m. Yeah. Or something like that. So that way your audience knows, like, oh, I know she put up a post today, I'm going to go see it.
I like that. You do that between your profile and ShreeFit. You'll say what time you're going to do something the next day so people can be prepared in advance. So I like that.
That way they know.
So where can people find you? Where can they find Ben? Where can they find the gym? Like, tell us about your world they can find you.
Okay, so I'm on Anna Shree on Instagram, and then and Facebook and TikTok. And ShreeFit, my activewear line at Shree_fit. And then my gym that my husband and I own together is Be More Athletics, and Ben Moreland, who's sitting over here helping me with the technical issues. And that's us. So if you guys want to join my live, we do live on ShreeFit 3 times a week.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Mr. Jeff Fenster, he built up a brand called Everbowl. We're going to keep Anna in the background. He built up a brand called Everbowl to 28 locations in just 3 years. I just invested into the company last year, and multiple of my friends invested in now as well, because we truly believe in Jeff himself, not just the brand. So a lot of times when I invest into companies, I'm not just looking for the product, because there's zillions of product options, zillions of ideas, zillions of brands, but betting on the person, betting on somebody that's running the business. That's what I like to do. And this guy exemplifies that more than ever. And that's why myself and multiple friends have recently invested into his company. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jeff Fenster.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How's it going?
Hello.
Good, thanks. How are you?
Fantastic. Happy to be here. How soon, I got to ask you before I get your bio, how soon till you can start shipping Everbowl nationwide?
This morning at 8 a.m.
What?
So we are nationwide right now.
Can you get that from the freezer?
That's awesome.
All right. Can you give us a bit of bio, and then we're going to dive into questions and a giveaway? Since you can ship nationwide, we're going to have to give some away, right?
Yeah, of course. Quick and dirty. Just been an entrepreneur since graduated law school. Had a bunch of different companies, from a payroll business, marketing, recruiting agency, and now most focused on Everbowl, a construction arm, and Superfuel Coffee. And really, I believe that my claim to fame is, I think experience is the most overrated prerequisite to starting a company. And I think that if you have the right model and the right mindset, you can break into any industry and be successful. And I love startups, and I love disrupting new industries. And here we are, having some fun in the health and wellness space and really helping everyone be their best self with Everbowl.
So how the heck did you build 28 locations in 3 years? Most of the time people build like 1, 2, maybe 3 in 3 years. How did you go from 0 to 28 so fast with no restaurant experience?
Well, I think because I have no restaurant experience, I use that as an advantage. And so a lot of restaurants come out focused on the food. And I was really focused on scale. So my entire focus was on building a process or a system that I could then turn on when I was ready. And that focused on our entire infrastructure, from how we build restaurants to how we source ingredients to how we train our staff to how we market the brand. And worried about was the actual food, because you can always change that. You can always bring in a good chef. You can always bring in smart people who know how to cook different things and find something that the consumer will like. But if you're only focused on that and you're only focused on the customer when you first open, you can't scale once you're really ready. You have to now figure out all of these things. So we really looked within and focused on, okay, how can we build our restaurants so much cheaper? I mean, the first one, it cost me about $200,000. And while that's cheap for restaurants, it's still expensive. It's a lot of money. And I wanted to open 50. So how are we going to figure that out? So we looked at what Acai did and how they were able to disrupt the residential and commercial furniture space by building things in a box and making them scalable and really built off site. So we tried to apply that same metric. So I started a construction company called We Build Stuff, and we build Everbowls. And now we're able to literally build restaurants in a box off site and install them in under 2 weeks for under $50,000, which is us to grow restaurant after restaurant. And then simultaneously, I brought in some very smart people, and our Chief Development Officer, Brian, built Everbowl University, which is allowed to train and develop our talent, because it's one thing to open stores, but if you can't train the people so you can scale, you're not going to be successful. So we really focused on that part in our culture. And so he really built out Everbowl University, utilizing technology like Lightspeed, as well as internal processes and what he got from his time at Trader Joe's. And then ingredient sourcing, because if you're always a victim to middlemen and women who are there to keep your cost of goods really high, you're kind of subject to market conditions. And we really wanted to negate that. So we went down to Brazil. We started sourcing our own superfoods direct from the factory. And that has allowed us to really reduce our cost of goods and scale really quickly.
So most of the time when a restaurant wants to get into the franchise game, after they open their third or fourth location, they start diving into franchises. You've now opened 28 locations, all company owned, and just now you decided to start franchising. Why?
Well, two reasons. One, I don't like to do anything unless we're going to be remarkable at it, and I didn't feel like we understood our own business. We've only been in business a little over 3 years, so I'm still learning a lot. But after 3 or 4 restaurants, it'd been under a year, and I barely knew what I was doing. I mean, I didn't even have same store sales after 1 year actually lean on. Secondly, I don't like winners and losers, and I didn't feel like we were going to be able to disrupt the franchise market the way we've done everything else. So was let's build something that we're proud of. Let's scale this business the right way. And most importantly for me was I wanted to only bring on franchisees that followed a certain track, which is customer first, franchisee second. And so over the last 3 years, we've had over 500 now franchise requests, and they've all come from customers. We've never advertised. So now that we want to do it, we're going to be able to turn it on and really sell these things nationwide and really, again, disrupt the franchise space while offering a franchise model that's so unique in our industry. Our competitors are charging $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 for one store, and our price point's just around $100,000. So we're really able to disrupt and bring over the right franchisees and make an offering that's truly unique.
So this just happened where all of a sudden now you can ship to people's homes and they can have it in their freezer and build their own bowls. So you have over 400 employees, and then obviously when the coronavirus, when they asked us to close down for now, you pivoted, you adjusted and decided you're going to start shipping nationwide. Explain how this process works and what the price points are and how you decided that.
Sure. So one of our core values, and I think any entrepreneur, business owner out there needs to have this as one of theirs, and it's to be change ready. Market conditions change all the time. New competitors pop up, coronaviruses pop up, presidents change, legislation changes. So if you're really leaning on what you did yesterday to predict what you're going to do tomorrow, you have so much vulnerability. So for us, it's always being change ready. So as soon as the coronavirus happened and we got quarantined and we actually had to temporarily close 28 of our stores, we were sitting around, and what we wanted to do was figure out a way to make sure our customer was eating our food every single day, both current customers that love us and have already built us into their normal daily habit. But secondly, recognizing that line stuck at home and everyone needs food at home. So why don't introducing our products nationwide? And so what we did was we took our frozen product, we immediately started delivering to San Diego. We launched a website within a day using Shopify. I mean, that's the beauty of today's technology. You can do things literally within a minute. So within one day, we had a website. We created a product called Later Bowls, which was our existing bowl. I invited some people like you and Casey to come on over so you guys could try them. We did some samplings to make sure our loyal internal group. And then our price point was a little bit less than what it would cost to come to our store. And we knew that it was shelf stable or freezer stable, so it would last in your freezer. You could have it on demand. And we first introduced it San Diego and then figured out how we could ship it. And so that was really the progression. And now we're able to ship it nationwide as of 8 o'clock this morning.
Okay, so let's pick 5 winners. Does that work? And we're going to pick 5 winners that are going to actually get an Everbowl package shipped to your home so you can have the Everbowl right inside your freezer. The question is really difficult. I probably said the answer like 7 times. Ready? How many locations does Everbowl have currently?
I know.
You know? Oh. I think you got to ship some to her now because she knows the answer. All right. So why don't you ask a question?
Oh, gosh. If you could look back to the beginning of when you started opening your first location, is there anything that you wish you could tell yourself then that would help you even more than where you're at?
Oh, geez. Absolutely. Number one, well, I have a few, but the first and foremost is I think I would have gotten a little bit of sleep before I started. Because with 400 plus employees, the amount of sleep gets less and less every single week. But no, I think I made the mistake early on. Focusing on my customer first. And I think that that's a common thing that everyone says, customers. And same thing. And I'll say that some of our executives, Brian and Eric, when they joined us, they helped me re-visualize that appropriately. And it was focus on your employees and your employees will focus on your customers. And by doing that, we were able to build a better culture and better brand ambassadors, because when you have 400 employees, really have 400 brand ambassadors, and they are the touch point to every single customer who interacts with our brand. And we've all had it, right? One bad experience restaurant with a bad employee, and we almost swear off the brand forever, even though it's really just one employee. But we have that same thing, and that's just human nature. So if I could go back, I would have focused more on my employees earlier on, knowing that they were the ones who were going to take care of our customer instead of putting them behind the customer.
So how do you choose your price points when there's so much different levels to what you could be charging? How do you decide if it should be $6, $9, $13? Like, where do you come up with that price point and why?
So for me, it was all about making sure it was something that was part of everyone's habit already. So you spend on average about $8 to $9 for lunch, no matter where you go to any of the big names that are nationwide. 2 slices of pizza and a drink, a sandwich, chips and a drink, a burger, fries and a drink. You name it, it's about $8, $9. And so I wanted to make sure our price point was right in that bellywick. So you didn't have to spend more to eat at Everbowl and make it a less often habit, or less to where you just kind of, where I wasn't making enough margin to be able to scale this thing and keep the business profitable and make sure I took care of my and actually continue to provide high quality ingredients. So really I let the market conditions dictate that price. And then I built a business and portion sizes and offerings all around holding that price.
I have a question. So after this whole quarantine thing is over, will you still have Later Bowls?
100%. It's been the shelf in San Diego. We're going to keep Later Bowls. It's actually awesome. And it's going to help franchisees nationwide, because now we get to geo-target customers all across the country, get them to get that touch point and introduce them to the Everbowl brand, and also get that feedback and start building friends and having fun with people everywhere. Absolutely.
Cool. Somebody asked a question, how do you keep the quality of your product when you went from offering it in a store where your location is part of the experience to offering it in their own house?
It's a great question. So we're fortunate that our product is not cooked. So because it's frozen and the way you blend it, it's actually what creates the consistency and the texture. The quality of the product stays the same as long as it maintains its frozen state from when it leaves our factory to your home, which we do with dry ice. So as long as you put it in the freezer right away, it will not degrade in quality. Obviously, if we were cooking a product like fish or something, it would change. But we're fortunate that our product doesn't have that. So the integrity of it will stick the entire time.
I can definitely say that's true.
So if somebody wants to get into the restaurant space, what is some advice you would give them?
focus first and foremost on building your culture. Like I said, I think 9 out of 10 restaurants fail because it's restaurant chefs and foodies that are building businesses, and they don't realize that at the end of the day, it's still a business, which means you've got to have good economics. You've got to have the right prime number, occupancy cost, labor, cost of goods, and all the business elements. So focus on the right people on your team who can help you if that's not your strength. Surround yourself with great people because it takes an entire team to do this. And then worry about the food, because the food can always change. You can always come up with seasonal items, and the food can be always altered, but the business metrics and the foundation is where it starts, and that's where profitability and viability come from.
Somebody just came up with an idea, and I think it's a good idea. Ready for this? So a lot of restaurants will add, I'll give you an example. A lot of sushi restaurants started adding a freezer for mochi. And so that was an upsell that people would go there to get Thai food or Asian food or sushi or Japanese food, but they would add these mochi freezers. Will you add a freezer for people to buy later bowls?
I will now. Yeah.
I love it.
Yes, I will.
That's good, right? See,
It's great.
See?
It's brilliant.
Did you write that into the chat?
I didn't write it in the chat. No, I was wondering if you were going to have it, and then it triggered, somebody asked a question that was similar. It triggered the fact that when she asked about later bowls continuing on, it just kind of makes sense if somebody could come in and buy a 3-pack or a 12, maybe not one, but buy a 3-pack or a 6-pack or 12-pack of later bowls. I mean, I know I would if I was there.
Well, thank you to whoever wrote that in the chat, and let's get them, and I'm going to send them a box of later bowls too, because that might have just made us a lot of money and helped us. So thank you very much for that idea.
We got to buy 28 freezers now. But yeah, just like the ice cream style freezers, those are great. But yeah, that's a question. Would you do one, or would you do a 3-pack, 6-pack, or 12-pack? Would you sell later?
We would do it in multi-units, like we do now. Right now, you can get them in 7 or 15, but we're going to be shrinking them down as well and giving some more different offerings. But it doesn't make sense with just one.
Sure.
So you really want to, if you're going to bring them home, you want to have a few.
So 7-pack is how much?
The 7-pack is $50.
Oh, great. Okay.
And the 15-pack is $100. So you actually get a free one if you buy 15. They fit in the freezer really nice. They're really small. The one you showed is actually multiple bowls, but they're very small. You can see them on our website. And shop.everbowl.com is where you can go, or everbowl.com, and just click later bowls.
So we have 10 seconds left. Where can people find you and find the business?
So everbowl.com for anything Everbowl related, superfuelcoffee.com or Amazon for our coffee. I'm at Fenster Jeff on pretty much all social media. And if anyone else has any amazing ideas, kind of like whoever already came up with that one, please give them to me, because I love great ideas.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks so much for guys.
All right. Our next guest is an absolute legend. We've been watching him since we were kids on television shows like American Gladiator. He's been on over 100 fitness magazines. I can't even count. I don't think he can count how many magazines he's been on. He's won shows. He's done movies, done everything in between. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mike O'Hearn.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
guys.
We had a little puppy party.
I see we're bringing the puppies, so I thought I'd just bring this one.
What's the name?
That is Panda.
Panda.
Makes sense.
All right, if you could give a quick bio, and we're going to dive right into questions.
Background, 4-time Mr. Universe, been in the industry and in the magazine since 1987, before you two kids were born. Let's see, American Gladiators, TV shows like Battle Dome, Days of Our Lives, Sunny in Philadelphia, acting, movies, Barbarian, Keeper of Time, and a proud new daddy.
I love it. So how are you working out during this quarantine?
I am working out. I do have a home gym. I got a pretty good setup. But I am helping people around the world try to understand how to do it in the situation that we are in.
Can you tell us a bit about that, or where they can learn? Where can they
What's
learn?
that?
Where can they learn from you about that, or how can they follow along on that?
Anything Mike O'Hearn. Mike O'Hearn Instagram, MikeO'Hearn.com, Twitter, TikTok. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Just the name Mike O'Hearn will get you there.
Perfect. That's what we call digital real estate. I like it.
Oh, I bought those up right away, right?
Exactly. So tell us about your experiences now during this time where you're working out at home. Is it different? Like, are you still getting up at 4:30 a.m.? Is it different times? Like, tell us about the process.
I'm not getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning like I normally do. Because of lockdown, I'm pretty locked down. One benefit for that for me is that I'm not on the road every week.
Yep.
So that is kind of nice. And so it allows me to take care of my body better than I even normally do. So that's a nice, big change for me. Let my body relax and recover. But still get to bed, still get my 8 to 9 hours of sleep. That's pretty much my protocol. Get up, I get my training in first thing in the morning. Let's see, I got about 3 people that I do train with. We're all healthy nuts, and we're still training hard.
Nice.
So we know, because we've eaten a couple of meals with you, that you are very strict on what you do and don't eat. So do you think that there's a specific diet that you like or dislike? I mean, for you personally, or even for general public? I know there's all keto diets, carb loading, or all those different sort of diets, carb restricting. What do you go with?
Yeah, there's so much, and there's so many people, and fads come and go. Here's the thing. Like I said earlier, I've been in the magazine since 1987. I started competing in 1983. So I've seen the 80s, fads come and go, the 90s, the 2000, 2010. Here's the one thing that I really believe is, I'll go back to this every single time. Whatever a person will be consistent with is probably the best diet for them. Because consistency is going to win over everything, depending on, irrelevant to the carbohydrates, the protein, or the high-fat diets. Whatever they're consistent with and healthy with, it's going to work. Now, if you are somebody that I'm working with right now, here's the big thing that I'm doing. The first thing is I'm trying to get them to stress-free as much as possible. That's the first and hardest thing to do, because you guys know this as well, is everybody's stressing so much. You're not going to make that much gains right now because you're releasing so much cortisol. And so that's shutting the body down as much as you're trying to be healthy. So the first thing is I'm trying to shut that down and get those people to relax and go, hey, this time is your off-season time. This is the time to relax and try to recover. And one of the biggest things is right now, what's great is allowing people to get their metabolisms working. Now, you guys understand that. For the people listening, I think most people think if you just jump on a healthy diet, your metabolism is working then, right? That's a common thought, but it normally isn't. And that's why people start a diet, and after 2 or 3 weeks, they go, forget it, I'm not doing this. It's because their metabolism is still not functioning correctly.
So I have a question about personal branding. So there's been a lot of actors, people in the fitness space, et cetera, in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s that are not relevant in 2020. How did you stay relevant decade after decade after decade?
Yeah, that's not easy. But it's staying true to the core principles that I believed in. And the one big thing is, if you do anything for television or fame or magazines or TV or anything like that for fame and money, you're going to burn out. And the one thing I did is I grabbed something that I was so passionate about that I would do with or without money, without fame. And by staying true to the core beliefs of what I was doing, and also on top of that, taking my time. I won the universe by 20 years old. I'm now in my 50s and still on the magazines. But it was the consistency of staying true to the core beliefs of my training, not going ballistic, not going to the extreme of trying to be a 350-pound monster, and just taking my time. It's a hard thing when it comes to athletes, especially bodybuilding. They burn out so quickly, 5-10 years of a peak, and then they burn out. And it's the pressure of trying to appease everybody instead of trying to create something that you like for yourself. I think we all know about people's bodies on social media and how some girls will have a body that they like, but then people downgrade them, or the guys. And if you could just believe in what you're doing and stay true to your passion and keep your physique how you want, you'll keep doing it.
So for those people that don't know, I think you said you started bodybuilding, you were like 9 years old or something? You were pretty small. What was it that pushed you and drove you, even at that young of an age, to get in the gym and start really doing this?
2 things. One is I grew up in a family that was very athletic. I got lucky and had 9 older brothers and sisters that all did weightlifting and martial arts and competed. So that was one huge aspect of it. And the second one is I was diagnosed at a pretty young age with dyslexia. So the schooling was tough, and I was getting not picked on so much myself, but my classmates, because I was in the special ed classes. And I noticed that I had to kind of tussle a lot, I guess you would say. And that really made me focus on the training and trying to be a best martial artist, and not just athletic, but strong too, at that young age. And that, I guess that chip on my shoulder just stayed true to me. And I accomplished something that in the industry that hasn't been done before, and that's to be in the magazines and consistently in shape for almost 40 years.
So you're sought after by so many people and businesses and brands in the fitness space. How do you choose which brands you align with?
That's a great question, and a tough one too, because I'd like to say I stayed true to my morals and beliefs, and you just stay with the right stuff. But as a kid, there's a couple things I needed. I was lucky enough to be discovered by Joe Weider, who, for the people that don't know, he basically created bodybuilding, and he's also the guy that brought Arnold Schwarzenegger over. So he brought me down and he put me in the magazines, and I needed the magazines because basically the magazines and TV is what social media is today.
Sure.
For me to be known over in Europe or anywhere in the world, I needed to be on the cover of the magazines, and I also had to endorse his products. So it was a little catch-22 when I first started out. But as time goes and you start creating something yourself, you really do need to start picking and choosing, especially if you're not going to be just a one-hit wonder, just a big name for 1 year, because people are going to pull that out later on in life. So, oh no, you endorsed this, that, and the other thing. Those were terrible products. How can we believe you now? And I think I got lucky enough to where after some of my first contracts, I got to choose what I wanted to do and what I believed in. And by being on TV shows like Gladiator, it helped me out financially. I mean, in a perfect world, you'd like to say you didn't endorse something that you didn't believe in. But Weider's products actually, for me, even though society didn't like them back then, helped me believe in the dream. So truthfully, it's something that you got to just choose. It's a hard industry. I'd love to ask you the same question. What would you recommend to somebody, especially today? Because everybody just goes and sends out DMs. Hey, I'll sponsor your product. I'll sponsor your product. What do you tell them?
Yeah, I try to tell them to focus on a couple key categories. So let's say it's Mike O'Hearn. I'd say I look at a watch company. I look at an apparel brand. I look at a sunglasses company. I look if there's a certain mobile app. Is there a certain water? Besides the obvious. Obviously, there's the protein brands, the food brands. Those are the no-brainer, and you have a whirlwind of options. But then thinking about, do I care about finance? So should I talk to Amex or Chase? Do I care about watches? Maybe I should go with a watch company. Do I care about a Fitbit? Maybe I should contact that company. But I look at it like your body as a map. And on the map, it literally, you circle this part of the map and say, okay, on the head, what could you get sponsored? Okay, I could get a hat sponsor. I get a sunglasses sponsor. Maybe I want to do jewelry. Do I like jewelry? Do I wear necklaces? Do I not? Look at the wrists. Should I do bracelets? Do I like healthy bracelets? Do I like the Lance Armstrong bracelet? Do I like what? Like I look at the human as an actual chart, like a map of what could be sponsored. But it's up to them, right? If they don't wear watches, it would be unnatural for them to take a watch deal. If they don't drink alcohol, it would be unnatural to take a Crown Royal whiskey deal, right? You can't do a beer deal if you're a fitness person. That doesn't make any sense if you just start.
Now, can you say that to a 20-year-old and then say, yes, I agree with you? If somebody says, hey, I'm going to give you $200,000, endorse my alcohol. And I guess that's the real question.
Sure.
And you don't drink. I never drank. So again, for me, I would never do that. But it's tough to tell these kids. And I think you and I are talking to all these people now and telling them, pick and choose smart. I know you're young and I know you're just starting out, but pick and choose smart. Just don't endorse everything because of the fact that that's going to come back maybe later and haunt you. And everybody's going to say, you'll endorse everything. So how can I trust you?
Yeah, that's the hard part, is that followers do get burnt out. So if an influencer jumps to 7 different protein brands, on the 3rd or 4th one, the followers stop listening because it's like the boy who cried wolf. If they do 7 different energy drinks, Red Bull, Monster, Rockstar, Bang, and they go boom, 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 it's hard by the time you get to Rockstar, Monster, like, well, I thought you liked that one, or I thought you liked that one, or I thought you liked that one. And so I try to convince influencers as much as I can. We have 600 core influencers that we work with and 3,500 per year that we pay one-offs. So 600 that were consistent because they're willing to do the work, and 2,900 that will pay them one time, but they're not really the fit for us. And those 600, I'd say, are pretty much the same for the last half a decade. And so we try to instill into them of why they should work with these brands and try to make the campaigns. We don't like to do one-off campaigns. Like,
Right.
we want long-term campaigns and sticking with the same brand as much as possible for everybody. The brand wins. The influencer's happy because they have something consistent. The followers are happy because they're listening to the same product. They believe them. Everybody wins in this scenario. Whereas if you just post this brand, then this brand, then this brand, then this brand, how do I believe you?
No, that's a great point. Got good coaches, you guys.
Go for the last question.
Okay, I got one for you. So you have done so many things. You are big on social media. You've obviously been in so many magazines and TV shows and movies. Are those things that you actively went after? Did some of them just fall into place? And kind of on that, like, what would you suggest for somebody trying to follow in your footsteps now?
Well, the first thing is I competed, and for me, when it comes to anything athletics or coaching, I for me believe that I had to do it to be able to teach it. And by winning the universe, that allowed me other options. But no, I was a continuous hustle. I got gladiators because I went out and went against 15,000 guys and beat them all.
Wow.
To get the role. Actually, when I came back and then got a TV show, Battle Dome, same thing. And then when I got American Gladiators this last time, they called me up and said, hey, would you like to be back on American Gladiators? And I said, I'd love it. And they go, okay, because you're going to be this guy and we're going to come back and do great. And I go, no, guys. I got to try out like everybody else. And they're like, you don't have to. You're Mike O'Hearn. I go, absolutely not. I want to get out. I run the 40. I do the pull-ups. I do anything else. I do the wrestling against everybody that's trying out for it. If I win it, I'll get the show. If I don't win it, I don't get the show and I don't deserve it.
Wow.
And that's how I came back and I beat everybody and got gladiators again. But it's something that, listen, all these jobs and everything I do is great, but it's the struggle to get them is what I love. I love the battle to try to do this. And I love, like right now, I know that we're in quarantine, but I know that I am training harder right now and making sure my nutrition is on point. So when I come out of this, I'm ahead of the curve.
That's awesome.
As again, this is something that everybody else can fall down on. I don't believe in that. I believe we got to keep moving and moving harder.
We got one of your good friends coming up right now in the next few seconds. So everybody make sure to go follow @Mike O'Hearn on every single social platform to get inspired on what he's eating, how he's working out, his beautiful dogs, and everything in between, and the new baby. Thank you for coming tonight, Mr. Mike O'Hearn.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Our next guest I talk to almost every single day. He is one of the true pioneers in the space and one of the most beloved people in the fitness space. He's friends with Mike and a lot of the guys in the industry. He built up a brand called Icon Meals, which is who feeds most of the people on this group tonight. We just had two of them today. Yeah, we just ate them. So please welcome Mr. Todd Abrams.
Hey guys, all right. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So if you could give us a 1 or 2 minute background, and I got a lot of questions for you.
Sure. Grew up originally in Canada. Excuse me. Been down in Texas, I guess, for almost over 20 years now, but always had my own business. So never, I guess, held a steady 9 to 5. So when people talk about risk and some of the things that Jeff talked about coming out of law school, came out of college and basically went straight into having my own company. So I've had 3 companies prior to Icon Meals, all startup related. And a lot of the things that Jeff talked about in regards to culture and just the different things that he loved about building business is really but what has just propelled me to continue to always be in that startup space. And I love building the culture, I love building the business, the challenge, and that's where we ended up with Icon Meals. We've had Icon Meals now for the last 5 years.
So tell us a bit about you. You moved into a much bigger warehouse last year, and you really got you really truly scaled the business, very consistent for years, and then boom, you just 4 times bigger warehouse.
Yeah, we were held back. We had roughly started off in about 11,000, 12,000 square feet, which we soon grew out of. We ended up having refrigerated trucks backed up outside, and just to get some of the different regulations, the FDA and USDA pieces that we knew we needed to grow But again, trying to find a kitchen space that's actually built out is a hard thing to do, right? They're few and far between, and when there is one that's available, it goes really quick. So just over a year ago, we got lucky. We found a 32,000 square foot facility. It was already gone, but through a relationship with our real estate agent, we got it. So we moved in. Currently, as you said, in 32,000 square feet. So especially with everything that's going on right now, yeah, it's been great, a blessing to be able to scale. And we still have, I'd say, a little bit more room to grow in this facility, but 32,000 square feet we've quickly grew into over the past, I'll call it 8 months.
Wow, so you're gonna need new space this year.
There's modifications inside, of course. I think as, again, go back to Jeff, as he's built these businesses, right? It was we built these businesses. We've learned different things along the way, the structure, the different pieces, how to optimize it for profitability, for your different costs. So I think we have some more room. We can probably grow another, I'd say close to double what we have in this facility through use of different technology and equipment prior to having to go outside. And there's some other things we'll do. We would rent and take additional fridge space if required.
So the health meal space has gone through the roof this last month during quarantine for online food delivery. Obviously, we've seen some major apps go through the roof, but online food delivery and also now the health meal space, I think, is going to escalate even more because people are going to start realizing that if they're not getting to work out the same way, they at least need to be eating better than just getting stuff from certain apps every single day. So can you tell us about what's happened during this quarantine time for you? For the business?
Sure. I think it's actually, for our space, it's been a blessing, right? First off, we've been able to keep jobs, I'll say, employed for close to 100 people. We've actually added about 20 people over the past few months. And really for probably the last sort of 6 weeks plus, the daily production volume's gone 1 to 3 times up, which is interesting. I think as Casey was talking about, some of the buying habits and different patterns that people are definitely going to change, right? And as Anna said, they're not going to go back into these sort of big gyms and stuff, right? It's going to be more potentially one-on-one. So I think a lot of the trend that you're seeing of people buying more, there's always people that knew, hey, this is a good thing to do, right? But then with all the different things associated with the actual virus, people are now thinking much more on the safety element. So when you have actually meal that is prepared, it's not brought to you by a delivery driver, it's not handed off to you, it's tamper-proof, it's sealed. I'll give you an example. We actually just started dealing with a cancer group who does oncology drugs and different drugs for patients. They work only with surgeons and doctors in the actual hospitals. And huge company, I won't mention the name, but like all over the world, right? These guys reached out to us, and we're now one of pretty much, well, the one that they've approved, but to go in, and the only one that doctors feel comfortable with because of the vacuum seal technology that we have. So before, these guys had, I'll call it, they did like lunch and learns and different things every single day. So they had an allocated budget to bring in meals to these doctors in these different facilities. But the doctors then, when this all happened, they weren't taking in takeout. They weren't anything that was tamper-proof, that they weren't unsealing themselves, right? So as you see the meals that are sitting beside you, Dan, there, now the doctors can order their own meals. They have their meals coming. They're actually taking off their own seal. No one else is touching it. No one else is handing it to them. And so that fit inside of their legal structure and past the compliance and different things. But again, for us, the reason, the main, anytime you start a business, right, you have to have a solution to a problem. And our solution's really been the element of convenience. I think you just see that convenience element scale 20 times right now, right? No lineups in the grocery store, no worrying about other people within social distancing, right? Your meals come directly to your front door. You pick them up, bring them in, put them fresh in your fridge for 12 plus days, or in your freezer for 6+ months. So,
all right, so we got some meals here. I want to show some people. Yeah, what is this one?
So the difference between those two meals is the one that you're holding in your left hand is from our signature line. And then the one, if you hold into your other hand, is actually Casey's custom meal. So if you flipped that meal up to the end, you would actually see the the other meal. If you flipped it up the end, it has Casey's actual, like, what it is and stuff on that actual ingredient. We also do a la carte, so family style. And another big thing for us is we do the protein by the pound. So people are there's shortages on meat, on different things. So a lot of people now, we've seen that scale dramatically, 30% growth over the last few weeks.
So we're going to pick 5 winners that are going to get a special box from Icon Meals. Answer in the chat, how many square feet is Todd's new warehouse? How many square feet is Todd's new warehouse that he just moved into?
Oh my gosh.
Right, you guys are so fast.
Jeez.
All right, so we're
Looks
gonna
like a stock trading symbol. So
we're gonna pick 5 winners to ship some meals out to.
Sounds great.
All right. Okay. You want to go question?
Oh, let's get some questions over here. Let's see. For you, how did you get into making meals? Was that something that was already important in your day-to-day life, or how did you really fall into that?
Yeah, so I call it more my passion, right? It's been health and fitness. My background in my other companies has been software application development. We own data centers, and people say, how do you get in the meal space? Well, I had some friends that owned a meal prep company, and I also compete in men's physique and stuff, and I didn't like what they were doing right before. So I was buying their meals, some of the different things that they were putting in as far as ingredients and preservatives and stuff. And I was like, hey, we can do this much better. So it goes back to the thing of many entrepreneurs always think they have to come up with the best idea, right? It has to be a brand new idea. And not necessarily. There's so many great businesses being built from just taking something that's already existing and making it much better from different things. So that's really where we started. My partner was the head chef at the Omni Hotels in Texas. And so the combination of his cuisine and kitchen experience, and then my background with the marketing and the business development and finance, is how we came together. So it was just a good match.
So how do you decide your price point? So in the meal space, there's so many different options. How do you decide your price point?
Yeah, you have to take in, going back to Jeff as well, right? Your cost of goods. So what is your cost of goods? And in the food industry or in restaurants, you have a pretty typical food cost, right? That you should be below. Then you've got your labor, you've got your packaging, which is another one. And in the food space, a big, huge one, especially in meal delivery, is your shipping cost. So you have to look at those. What can you be profitable on? What you can sustain growth on? And then come to a price point that is what is in the market currently. What does it take for someone to go to a grocery store, buy that same sort of meal, right? And then you come back, you take those market dynamics, and you come back to try to price a proportionate meal to that dollar amount. So again, you need affordability, but you have to look at, because everyone's going to compare you to, hey, what can I do to walk into a grocery store, right? Again, never taking in that element of really convenience and time savings. Now, especially, more people do, but in the past, so it's building it around to that, to what's that affordability and value, because in their mind, going into like even a Subway, right, $8 to whatever, $10 or something like that, someone's paying that, and that's perceived value. So it's a perception again of what can I get for that $10 or that $15.
So you also expanded into protein popcorn and other snacks. Can you tell us about that, deciding to do an expansion?
Sure. So on the food side, we have the food, and then we have what we call functional food. So we do have protein popcorn, high protein vegan crisps. We have a cookie. We've got some other stuff. We got into our spices, a high protein coffee with nootropic, and some other goodies coming out. But again, those pieces, we wanted to look at what do people do on a daily basis, right? And I love food because food is a recurring revenue business where you have everyone eating every 5 to 7 days, typically ordering. Everyone eats every day, right? So what other elements of their daily life, how do we fit in other pieces? The popcorn became because popcorn was something that everyone that we know, like to my wife, right? My wife loves popcorn. Kay loves chocolate. Put those two pieces together and tried to come up with a product that had all our high protein products have 10 grams of protein minimum per serving, something that people wanted. And again, that was addictive. So that's how we originally got into protein popcorn, and then came out with additional flavors.
And those products are sold only online, or do you sell to retail also?
So we also have some big box. So we do sell in Vitamin Shop, like the NutriShops, Max Muscles, 24 Hour Fitness, a bunch of gyms carry them. We do have a bunch of other, I'll call it small retailers, probably 600-700 across the US. But 90+% of our business is direct to consumer online.
And do you see that in the future? Do you think you're going to go more to retail, and why?
I think we'll continue to scale more on the direct-to-consumer side. I think it's the audience, right? You're able to, especially with the virus and stuff happening, a lot of our smaller retailers have been shut down, or they've been out of work and different things. So growing that audience direct, I like the aspect of owning the end consumer, building that relationship with the end consumer. And again, it's much easier now with all the different online marketing. Like Mike talked a bit back in the day, it was magazine ads, right? Well, it took every month to reach a customer through those ads. Well, now there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's all the different social media. We built our business basically on influencers, right? And affiliates, where we don't have many full-time salesperson people want. So from that element, it's being, again, to build that brand direct to consumer. For the retailers, we will probably add a few more, but again, key distribution partners is what I'd call them.
I love it. I think we should get some questions from people. I have probably so many questions.
Yeah, we have to have them prepared.
Oh, okay.
So how long does a meal last for somebody in their freezer?
Sure. So all our meals leave our facility fresh. Believe it or not, 32,000 square feet, we don't have any freezer. So everything goes out fresh. It's packed with dry ice, depending on where it's shipped to. You have 12 days from the date that it's cooked. So when it gets you have typically 12 days, and those would be on those, it says Best Buy. If you put them in the freezer, you'll get 6+ months. So we do shelf life studies. It's another thing where we send them off to the actual lab, they come back. So all our shelf life studies and all our meals have come back between 12 to 21 days. We label them with 12, but you can freeze them 6+ months. So a lot of people right now, especially with this time of quarantine, have been buying more food, putting it in their freezer. They have, and again, it's going to be the same freshness, because until you pull back that vacuum seal, there's no oxygen. Nothing can get in as far as pathogens or anything. So it's funny, when we first launched the vacuum seal technology, people were like, did you get a new chef? Did you like new recipes? And it's like, no, but that's the value. And again, I don't know why anyone in this space wouldn't invest in that technology. So
good.
So people are asking, do you have an affiliate program, or how does that work?
Sure. Yeah, we have an affiliate program. Right now, we're probably averaging, 20 to 30 plus new requests per day, but you can go online to iconmeals.com. I believe it's under the About Us section. There's a form to fill out there. Again, we're always looking to work with new people, and it's not just in the fitness space. We've got people, we work with many different celebrities. We work with a bunch of rappers that I don't know, my kids know them, right? We work with, like Motley Crue, Alice Cooper back in the day on their tours. Again, we've worked with, we still do like Tanoia, who's the Rock stunt double, and a bunch of people we send food to over in Hawaii. So we've worked with a lot of different people in a lot of industries, golf, NASCAR, etc. So yeah, definitely always looking for new people that find value in what we provide.
Is there other sites that would sell your product, like an Amazon? Do other platforms sell your product?
So yeah, on the food side, no. The food side, everything comes through us direct to consumer, right? Amazon, we do have a controlled program. We haven't let it to where there's a bunch of different people competing on price and stuff. So we go through a couple different distribution partners for Amazon, one Amazon Canada and one the US. But that's our snack line, and then our seasonings. So everything else is on the meal side is direct to consumer.
And where can people find you on social media and find Icon Meals?
Sure. So Icon Meals, it's iconmeals.com. Any social media handle, it's at Icon Meals. Me personally, it's just Todd Abrams. So at any social media, it's Todd and then Abrams. And you'll find us.
We still got 35 seconds left. What do you want to tell people for the rest of summer 2020?
I think hunker down, keep a strong mindset right now, keep on point, like Mike talked about as well, right? Hammer in your workouts, do something that challenges you every single day. Don't just sit back. This is the time, like what you're doing with your 100 Million Mastery and Stuff Academy. Take advantage of every single thing and learn something new. Every day, I try to wake up, try to do something different to add to my, I'll call it arsenal or my quiver, right? So when quarantine is up, we're going to be blowing and going. That's the same thing for Icon Meals. We've even tried 3 new things that we're going to try to do to make it stronger, and we're building that foundation now. So go to work every day. Don't just sit back.
Awesome.
Love that.
Todd, it's fantastic seeing you. Thanks for everything tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Great having you. Appreciate it.
All right. Our next guest is actually sponsored by First Form as well. Our next guest has, I've spoken with him at multiple events around the country, but he's spoken internationally on tours with Tony Robbins, crushes the stage. He has a book here called Victim to Victor. Please give it up for Mr. Nick Santonastasso.
The man. Yo, what is this? Can you turn that down? Sorry, they're bumping more music over here for my intro. My man, thank you for having me.
I like your background music.
It was perfect timing.
All right, if you could give a bit of background on your story, and we're going to dive right into some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Nick Santonastasso. I'm 23 years old. In 1996, I was born with no legs and one arm, and one of the 12 unicorns that run the world.
I love it. I love it.
That's awesome.
All right, so tell us a bit about the book.
Yeah, absolutely. So Victim to Victor was basically my life story, but the way that I framed it, it's life story, lesson, and then the application on how that reader can apply that lesson to their life. But basically, this was a way for me to build credibility as I was becoming a speaker, and another source of revenue for the company as well.
So you also just recently came out with a program for kids. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, awesome. So Junior Victorious is a 52-week curriculum on life skills, on emotional awareness, on physical health, where every Sunday I release a video lesson to the kid or a kid you care deeply about, as well as having a private Facebook community for the parents as well. But I think my greatest gift that I can give to the world before I leave is trickling down my victorious mindset to the future generation before I go, because they're going to be coming up and making the world a better place. So I've had a a blast, serving entrepreneurs and adults, and I'm still going to do that. But I think one of the greatest gifts I can give is trickling down my knowledge to the youth.
And last year you signed with First Form. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. So, I was looking for someone who's aligned. I don't, in my personal life and in my business life, I don't work or, am around anyone that's not aligned with my core values. And so, I was looking for someone that, like the family we talk about. And so not only do I have a great relationship with you and Andy Frisella, but I wanted to be part of something that was, not just straight bodybuilding, right? Because my brand has changed. I was hardcore bodybuilding, and then it changed to traveling, it changed the lifestyle, it changed to speaking and doing all these things. And so I wanted to find a company that was aligned, right? And so I went to First Form, and I'm just happy to be there and be a part of the family. And I'm glad that we're with another family member over there as well.
So you've worked out with some very, very famous characters over the years, with Dan Bilzerian, The Rock. I mean, The Rock came up to you to work out. Like, tell us about some of those fun stories.
Yeah, so The Rock, that was an amazing moment. That was for, I'm a big believer in moments of being guided, right? We've had moments in our life where people fall into our laps at the right time, or opportunities come at the right time. And it was a Sunday. It was the Sunday of Mr. Olympia, and I went to City Athletic Club, and I go in there, and everybody's crowded around the gym. And Casey Mitchell actually came up to me and he said, "Dude, The Rock is upstairs lifting." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. Can I still get my lift on?" And, lo and behold, I climb up these stairs and I look over to my right, and there's Dwayne, and there's 4 security guards around him, and he's doing dips. I'm like, "Oh my God, it really is Dwayne." And to give a little bit of context, he'd already seen my bodybuilding videos, and he tweeted at me. And so I said to my friends, I said, "Let's not bother this man. I stick out like a sore thumb. If The Rock sees me, he's got to say hi. Let's just test his character a little bit." And so, 45 minutes later, he came up to me, he said, "You're Nick, right?" And I said, "Not many people that look like me, brother." And so, I was like, "Let's take a picture." And he's like, I'm such a big fan. I love what you do. And I had a little bit of a fangirl moment, and, got to share some perspective with him. And then he went ahead and posted me on his Instagram and gained me like 100,000 followers, because he has 150 million followers.
That's awesome. You have some questions?
Yeah. So I've had the opportunity to hear you speak quite a few times, and you truly have such an inspirational story, and especially an inspirational mindset. I'm curious, what is your internal dialogue like when you have those down moments? Like, what is it really that you tell yourself internally to bring yourself back up?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really called stacking. As humans, we stack thoughts. And so if one negative thing happens, if we wake up on the wrong side of the bed, we go down rolled in the spiral, right? If we're not conscious of our thoughts. And so the first thing that you could do, I think the easiest thing to do, is call a level-headed friend. Call someone that's not in that state, right? And they can pull you out of it. The second thing is you got to move your body. A lot of the times when you're in a negative mindset, you notice your shoulders are down, your head's down, you're speaking monotone, and you have to really get your body moving to change that state. Because all of us here, we may not want to work out, but after we work out, what do we say? "Oh, I feel so much better." And then the third thing that you can do is fill yourself up with gratitude and appreciation, because the emotion of gratitude actually outweighs all the negative emotions. So it's emotionally impossible for you to feel grateful and sad, grateful and angry at the same time. And so exercise your muscle of gratitude and appreciation.
Was speaking always on your horizon, or is that something that kind of just fell into your lap as you were on your way?
Yeah, absolutely. I always say my dad's always weirdly right. And what I mean by that is at a young age, my dad was like, "Son, you could be a sports announcer, or you could be on a radio television show, or you could be a speaker." But sometimes it takes someone else to really see a gift in you that you may not see in yourself. It's kind of like a dusty trophy on the shelf, and your mom comes over and she shines it, and you're like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool trophy." And so, speaking wasn't really on the horizon. But when I moved to Tampa, I met my best friends and my business partners now, and I shared my story, and, they gave me the confidence to say, "Dude, your story is amazing. It has the ability to impact people. Let's just try it." And so from there, it was really exercising the muscle, cultivating my message, and, trial and error. But it came to me. It was kind of like a guided, and it was a skill that I didn't know I had. And now I've been able to really cultivate and master.
I love that.
So how did the Tony Robbins thing come to be? Like, tell us about that experience.
Yeah, a lot of persistence, my friends. And so, at first we went to Tony Robbins, we attended the event, and our goal was to network, meet the top players, and just plant seeds. I'm a big believer in just planting seeds. You'll never know when it's going to grow. And so in that event, I was able to meet Tony backstage with like 8 other people, and he had invited me to the next event. I went to the next event and still planting seeds. If you ever need anything, I'm always here. Didn't hear anything for like 8 months. And during the 8 months, you know, Ratmir, my business partner, is like, hey, Nick just climbed a mountain. Hey, Nick just wrote a book. Like, always just keeping them in the loop. And then, you know, like 9 months goes by and they say, hey, would you be up for speaking at a youth leadership program in San Diego? Tony's not there, but they do a youth summit. And they said, by the way, we're not going to pay you, and you have to fly yourself out here. And so, you know, rather than being in the take mindset that a lot of people am, I was just like, I just want to serve. I just want to contribute. And then I went over there. I spoke for the youth leadership, and they loved it. And then I said, hey, if you ever need me to speak with Tony, you know, like, I'm always here. Didn't hear anything for them for another half of a year. And then a half a year rolls by, and I get an email, and they say, hey, Tony had come to us, and he was trying to think of other speakers, and you were the first person to cross his mind. Would you be up for speaking with Tony in Texas? And that is the power of planting seeds, because like I said, you're literally one person away from changing the trajectory of your life. One conversation, one handshake, whatever it may be.
You know, that's what I call top of mind awareness. For you to
absolutely.
be on the top of Tony Robbins' mind, just think about that. Tony Robbins has 2,000 to 10,000 people per event, and he's done those events 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 times a year for 3 decades. And you were the one on top of his mind out of all these hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. So you planting those seeds really worked.
Always planting seeds.
Awesome. You obviously have overcome a lot of circumstances. I think a lot of us wake up and feel unmotivated or unsure if we can succeed in a fitness plan or a nutrition plan. What would be your advice for somebody getting started?
Yeah, absolutely. As humans, there's a lot of things that we say we have to do. And what I mean by that is I have to go to the gym. I have to do this diet. I have to knock the door. You know, there's a lot of things as humans we take for granted. But if you switch your have-tos to your get-tos, your life will change in that moment. And what I mean by that is I get to go to the gym. You know, I get to be on a diet. I get to sculpt my body. Because even me, a man with no legs and one arm, I know that there are millions of kids and adults that are confined in wheelchairs, that are paralyzed, that would give up, and they want to be, you know, in my body for a day because they just can't do the things that I would do. And so, you know, who am I to sit around and say, oh, I have no legs and one arm and I can't go to the gym? And so what I would tell people is the biggest investment, the most valuable investment that you can have is investing in yourself. And, you know, I like cars, and so we can use a car analogy. If you have a Ferrari and you put regular fuel into that Ferrari, how is that Ferrari going to perform? Not going to perform like a Ferrari should, right? That's the same thing with your body. Your mind and your body is connected. And so if you are crushing it in business, just think of how much more potential, how higher you will operate if you were putting the right fuels into your body. And that's the same thing if you're crushing it in fitness and you're not, you know, you're struggling in your business and finances. There's got to be a balance. And so with me, you know, I treat my body as a temple. And I only get one, and it may not have all the limbs, but I'm going to take advantage and make the best use of it as I can because we're only here once.
That's awesome.
So on TikTok, you have just absolutely crushed it. Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It took me a little bit to get on TikTok. You know, as some people are may not on it, but I used to be famous on Vine for literally dressing up as a zombie and scaring people in Walmart. And so I was like, yeah, rah. And so, right. So I wanted to create, I just wanted to go back to the things that makes me feel like a kid. You know, I think all humans should do things that make them feel like a kid. Right. And so I was like, man, TikTok, I can not only post inspirational content, but let me just be my funny self and see what happens. And in probably half a year, I just hit 1.8 million followers on TikTok.
What?
And this is also another way that I was looking at for leveraging that platform to promote my music, because I'm getting into music, and I just built a studio. We're finishing a song right now, but this is a way that I can plant seeds to the youth and get them to become little Nick believers.
Tell us about the music part.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with speaking, you know, I ran into this bottleneck of realizing that there's only a very small percentage of the world that goes to personal development seminars. And so what moves the masses? Music. Everybody listens to music. And so I was like, if I can intertwine music and I can intertwine my personal development and plant seeds, you know, then I can reach a way bigger audience. And so, for example, you know, I have a line that says, you see me on the street, you say, oh, he's disabled. But when we compare mindsets, no, I'm the one who's able. And now I'm planting a seed showing the kids that regardless of the physical body, that it's really the biggest disability you can have is a bad mindset.
Amen. So
Sorry, I'm just ripping through these,
no,
but I just want to be
great.
conscious.
I love that you're so much like mind over body. Was that a process for you to get to that point, to be strong in your own mind and protect your own thoughts, or how do you deal with that day to day?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the training never stops. And I think, to share with people, the reason why I've had so much growth in my personal business life is because I dropped my ego. You know, one of the biggest wealth traps of human beings is the know-it-all syndrome. And so I'm a student of the game in my personal life and my business life. And what that means is I set my ego aside and say, I only know what I know. And I'm going to listen to everything with an open mind, whether it's the janitor, whether it's a CEO, whether it's someone that you don't really like. I'm always analyzing and I'm modeling people that are successful, but I'm always listening to things with an open mind. Because like I said, our egos is going to be one of the biggest things that are either going to handicap and cripple you. But if you put it aside, it's going to be the one things that can, elevate you and move you forward.
So
the training never stops.
We got a bunch of questions. Tell us what's going on in the background with those sticky notes and whiteboard. You got a lot of stuff going on. What's next for Nick?
Yeah, so this is basically Discover Your Purpose. This is basically the junior, don't look at it too closely because this is the junior victorious curriculum. So basically we've created a framework around the word victorious. And so what I mean by that is the first months of the curriculum for the kids is the letter V. Why is vision important? What is vision? How can you cultivate a vision and actionable steps to obtain that vision? And how can you communicate that vision? So don't really zoom in and screenshot this as a secret sauce.
All right, so tell us what your thoughts are for the rest of 2020. What do you do to inspire people that are feeling stuck in their houses right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Your mind is a garden. And if you don't tend that garden, weeds are going to grow. And so now is a time your blades are either going to get dull or your blades are going to get sharp. And so what I mean by that is now is the time to get more present with your family. Now is the time to evaluate your weaknesses in your business. Now is the time to invest in yourself, because while the rest of the world is crumbling and losing momentum and breaking their habits and breaking their structure, you want to come out of this wave stronger, fitter, more mentally tough, or do you want to come out of this way fatter, less smart, and less motivated? But that's up to you. So I can only be the guy that says, hey, what are you going to do with it?
I love it.
Where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, all those: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can type in Nick Santonastasso, but I know my last name's really long. So if you type in Nick Santo, I'm the guy with no legs and one arm with tattoos, and there's no one out there that looks like me.
And what's the name of the book and your new course for the kids?
Yeah, the book is called Victim to Victor, and then it's called Junior Victorious, and that is the whole year curriculum for the youth.
Awesome. Nick, it's always good to see you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, our next guest, I call him a boss, but that's actually and literally his name. His Instagram name is @JustTrain. He's a celebrity trainer, a brand consultant. He's helped do some mega deals with household name credit card companies and sports brands. Like, it's just, there's so many things. I really want to just bring him out here. Welcome, Mr. Boss, JustTrain.
Hey, what's up, Dan? What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Yeah. Can you give us a quick bio before we dive into questions?
Oh, yeah, man. I will say I'm not really good at talking about myself. I'm not the guy, but just a quick, football didn't work for me. Started a training company, didn't think I thought I was going to be a football player. Didn't work. Opened up a gym. Created a program called CJ, the Workout Kid. Started training Neo. Moved on from training Neo. I started training people over in out of the country in Saudi Arabia, some royalty, and then I met Kevin. And Kevin had the opportunity. I didn't have to really, I was really, really training, doing really, really well for myself. And when I met Kevin, I had the opportunity. I said, listen, I could be your trainer, but I can be anybody's trainer and make money. I need to be your partner. And so he agreed that we could be business partners along while I help him get fit. And it was really about the mindset for me and elevating where I was at to where I was trying to go and bringing value to him. And so that's in short order.
Yeah, you brought in an awesome deal last year with a credit card company and a bank. Can you explain the main idea of that?
Yeah, so last year was really, really important. It was one of my biggest deals today. JP Morgan Chase came up with an idea. We take physical fitness and financial fitness. Physical fitness and financial fitness are just a parallel. You want gains in your bank account. You want gains in the gym. There has to be a sacrifice. So if you just kind of brought those worlds together while we're trying to teach people how to become financial literacy, teaching financial literacy through simplicity, right? And most people are afraid of banking. Most people are afraid to talk about money. And so it's not about being successful. It's about how do we take what we have and make it work for us compared to the fear that we don't want to talk to people about where we are rather than trying to figure out where we can go with what we have.
Awesome. I have some questions about fitness. So what do you think is one of the most common bad habits you see people giving energy to, that if they just kind of shifted their energy to something else, they would be more successful in their health, fitness, life journeys?
I think mindset, the guy, Nick, JustTrain the mind and the body of follow. He just kind of touched on everything I represent. I kind of feel like, he said everything that, I really believe. Most people don't pay attention to their mind in any aspects of life. Like, right now in this tough time that we're going through, most people aren't trying to control their mind, creating daily routines, daily schedules, thinking the positive thoughts. Yeah, the negative is happening, the worst thing that we've ever seen for ourselves as a country. But the one thing, I can wake up and have hope. And so most people don't wake up and have hope. If we could just start to change the negative. I don't watch the news. It's not that I'm unaware. I just don't overload myself with information that I know that I can't control. So I know I can control the output of positivity and keeping people very motivated. And I think that if people start to understand that motivation is like bathing, we need it every day. The great Zig Ziglar will change a lot of different things.
So what kind of social media advice would you give? Because you do some of the best content I've ever seen, and I work with thousands and thousands of influencers. You do such amazing content because you're blending comedy, real life, and obviously your main core business of fitness. Can you talk a bit about social media?
Yeah, man, social media for me, I'll be honest, I never thought it would work for me, but then I started to pay attention. I just said I had to be myself. I see on Instagram a lot, just social channels are unauthentic people that just feel like they're trying to prove something to everybody else rather than really waking up every day saying, I'm going to prove something to myself. And people will accept that 10 times better when something goes wrong or when something goes right. They're happy for you, or they can see all the good and the bad. And so that's just my approach to social media, is just being authentic and honest to my true self, and just having fun with my family. And I'm still very private, but, just kind of authenticity through social media is the best thing that I've learned. The best thing is just being me. And birthmark on my face, it is who it is. It's not going to change. I'm that guy, and that's who I'm going to always be.
So for personal trainers out there, how would you recommend them figuring out what their price point should be for charging per hour or per package?
What I've learned. So I own a training company, and I have a bunch of trainers that work for us around the world. And, currently, I have to understand the market. You have to understand where you're based. One of my trainers in Atlanta can't charge what we charge here in LA based on, demographic, right? Just based on where you are placed. And so, I think number one thing that I've understand is where you are. I don't get caught up in certification. I think that a lot of trainers get caught up in the science. We all know science. If you're a trainer, you need to get caught up in psychology. How do you connect with the client? What's your responsibility? Because a client is coming to you to motivate them. There's 1,000 trainers on the internet that they can get exercises from. There has to be some type of physical connection, some psychological connection to you that says, I'm motivated by Boss, I'm motivated by Jenny, I'm motivated by Jack, in order to make them continue to come back to me, because when they're feeling weak, they need to feel strong through me. And so that positivity needs to exude. So when you're talking, they're going to pay for that. And it goes from a want, it's something that they need, to a want. Training should, a trainer should understand that they should be trying to work themselves out of a job, and then a client wants to stay with them. You know what I mean? Yep. I always signed up with a client to say, you need me, but you should not, and then you should want me. And that's how I try to approach most of my clients, and try to stay with them from, for the most part of the time.
So Khaled asks a very serious question. Who would win in a race between you and Dan?
You know what, Dan? I think we should just leave that up to the actual, once we get off social distancing, we should meet up. I should either pull up to your office or your house or wherever one of your businesses are, and we should just race it out. I think that would be one of the best things we can do.
I like your side, but I'm going to start practicing.
No, you should. I've seen him race a lot of people.
A lot of people.
So I'm curious, I mean, obviously you work with people like Kevin Hart that are extremely funny, so I'm sure that keeps everything interesting. But for overall, with most of your clients, how do you keep things interesting when you've worked out with them for so many years?
And so that's what you see on my social media. I came from the background of training, all women, in sports. So when you have to change it up. So people come to my page and they'll see me combine a single leg RDL with the bent over row. Well, it's really, again, it goes to psychology. When people walk in the gym, the program is always typically the same, but I'm playing gamification. I've gamified fitness. So my approach to fitness is through gamification. So if you're getting bored, I'll come in and give you an obstacle course. My approach through fitness is through gamification. That's why it's JustTrain, the mind and the body of follow. When you see my social media, I just gamify social media and try to make it fun for people. That's why you want to race me, because I'm going to smoke your ass. So you're taking those elements and you make it fun with clients. So no matter who you are, it's not about being Kevin Hart, trainer or anybody trainer. I don't like being called a celebrity trainer, because what does that really mean? And you know what I mean? I understand what people think it represents, but it doesn't represent anything but this stereotypical bullshit that people want to follow to think you're cool. But what's really cool is changing people's lives. And that's what I signed up to do. And so I don't care who you are. My attachment to you is that you want to get better. And that's, I walk in and I'm motivated and we're going to have fun through that. And that's what inspires me to continue to walk in the gym every day. As long as you have the will to get better, we're going to continue to push the limit forward.
If I were to give you $2 million, would you not work out for the next 10 years?
No, no way.
That was definitely not enough money.
Keep the money, man. Keep the money. Keep the money. Your health is so important. Money, you can make money, you can lose money, but one thing you can always work on is yourself and your mind. And that's something that, especially right now, I don't care who you are, how much money you have, we're all in the same situation. You may just be in a different house, you may have a different car, but at the end of the day, we're all sitting in the exact same situation.
What advice would you give to people now that are stuck at home on some simple workouts they could do?
Simple workouts. I mean, man, listen, I'm going to post a lot of workouts, but most importantly, just challenge yourself, gamify, get a deck of cards. And one of the thing I love the most is a deck of cards, and you flip a deck of cards and you do push-ups, squats, however you want to do it, lunges, if you got dumbbells, curls, if you got bands, whatever, just add some elements. But a deck of cards is the most easy and simple way to get through some workouts while you're at home, and, squats and push-ups, and it's really, really challenging.
Yeah. What is your best advice for maybe trainers that are working inside of a gym right now that want to get out and do more of like a location training like you do? You have specified clients, not through the gym. How would you suggest them going about that?
Yeah, so I think that most trainers have to understand who they are, right? I've made the mistakes by thinking and I know the next caller should be coming in, so let me know when we got to go. But, most trainers should understand, are they entrepreneur driven? Are they really self-motivated to be able to work in an individual space? Because the gym gives them structure. If you're not a very structure-driven person, you have to understand who you are. I know it sounds cool, it looks cool, but you also are setting yourself up for failure. One of the things that, you got to step out on it and do it. If you're in a gym and you're stuck in a gym and you're trying to take that step and offer your training for free. One thing that people don't understand is that I offered so many training sessions to so many people for free. And that was one of the things that helped my career and helped me out. It's like I never asked for anything. I always wanted to give more. So if you step out of walking away from the gym, give people free sessions and say, hey, come over here, come to my garage. People will train anywhere if the energy's right. They don't care what it is. You don't have to go to 24-hour fitness. And especially now, people are going to be afraid to go to gyms. Even though the training business is down right now and a lot of studios and a lot of trainers are struggling, when the world opens back up, a lot of people are going to want more virtual training, more in-home training, more boutique training. So it's a big opportunity for trainers to now start to hunker in on what they're going to do when the doors open back up, and it's your opportunity to go.
Love it. Oh.
Yeah.
Were you originally in a gym, or were you straight into personal training one-on-one with people in your own?
I've never worked in a gym. I never, fortunately for me, I knew I couldn't listen to someone. And so I didn't, because I would have pissed somebody off if I had to go work at a gym. And so I learned the hard way, and I later made a lot of mistakes, but I made those mistakes to help people. But no, I didn't work in a gym. I opened up my own sports training facility in Atlanta, and one thing led to another, but it was hard. I mean, it sounds good, but it was a lot of days where you were negotiating price with people just to keep the lights on.
Yeah, it sounds like you're super self-driven. Was there anybody kind of behind you helping you as a driving force when you first started, or is it just very much like you just had a very strong mindset going into it?
No. So I give a lot of credit to my family, but I lost my mom at a young age, which is something that, it's the most difficult thing, and people say sorry, but it's been the most motivating thing. I lost my brother, and I just wanted to, every day, I just want them to be proud. And then I had an uncle that's a serial entrepreneur. And then after football didn't work, I had to figure it out. And I just wanted to figure out, how can I make my light shine outside of football? And so, I've never had I know a lot of people may think, well, Kevin doesn't give me money. I have more businesses, and I try to bring more to the table. I have trainers. And so I'm thankful to have great people around me, but I work my ass off, and that's what I pride myself on. And I'm looking to more people like Dan. Dan is somebody I've learned to admire. I came to your event, the 100 million thing event, and I was blown away how incredible of the thing you did at Porsche, and it inspired me to walk away from that day to go, I can do more, I can do better. And so I was thankful to be there.
So are there certain things that motivate you that are like music, podcasts, like what gets you into that mindset?
I really like podcasts, but you know what, man, my family, just to, these opportunities like this, my family motivates me. I listen to music. I'm very easily motivated. I use this term, very easily motivated, because I can find the most simple thing in my life, the thing that may seem very stressful. Right now I'm preparing for my first child. Just so many different elements of life, and Johnny's here, but so many different elements of life that keep me motivated. And I just try to be easily motivated. I don't try to take these big super things. It's very small things that keep me going.
Now, where is it the people that can find you, find the businesses that you're working on? How can they consume your social media?
Most of my stuff is JustTrain, double T, JustTrain, and the whole philosophy behind JustTrain is just train the mind and the body to follow.
Is there any certain core, we got 40 more seconds, is there any certain core products that you have? Is there any apparel or equipment or anything that you have going on?
Yeah. So right now we got we're sold out of a lot of equipment. We still have some vans on our site. We can't ship our clothing yet. Man, there's so many different things that we're working on. I sold TRX. We sold a company XD to TRX last year, so we got some new things coming from that, which we'll talk about. But I'm not here to promote. I'm here to support you. You know what I mean? I truly didn't come here to, I'm just excited, man. And I'm excited about what you guys are doing as a couple and a unit. And thank you for having me on, truly.
Really appreciate you being here. Thanks for coming tonight. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Appreciate this.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
All right. Our next speaker, very excited about this. I like watching his content so much. When he yells at the people, I feel like he's yelling at me, and it gets me all pumped up. He's really good about mindset, getting people to find their true self, and people pay him to whoop their butts. So please welcome Mr. RayCashCares.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. Beautiful day here in Virginia Beach.
Could you give us a bit of background?
Sure, guys. Baltimore native. I'm 48 years old. Pretty much my upbringing was rough. Father was murdered when I was 11. Went down a wrong path, doing a lot of bad things. And then I decided, I did that self-motivation, that self-discipline, where I decided at a certain time in my life that I had to turn it around. And my life thus far has been trying to help people do the same thing. People that are struggling with pain, I've learned how to profit from it, but not from a monetary standpoint. So helping people help themselves. That's my mission, my goal in life.
So, and tell us a bit about your career.
Yeah, so went to college. That really wasn't for me. Joined the Navy. Everybody told me I wouldn't do it. Wanted to become a Navy SEAL. again, everybody told me I didn't have what it took. So pretty much I've been just proving everybody wrong my entire life.
Yeah.
So I did that for about 12 years. I got out. I did some overseas work for some people for a very long time. And then as of about 2 years ago, I ran into a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Bedros Keuilian. I got to share the stage with him. I was opening act, of course. And we just met, and he loved my mentality, my mindset, my discipline. And now I'm working with him, and we are shaping companies and men and, groups all around the world, and we're crushing it. And I love it. It's my passion.
Can you tell us about some of those experiences? I mean, those are just so cool to watch.
Yeah, you're talking about what I'm doing with Bedros?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So what we do is we have one of the things we have. It's called the project. It's a 75-hour, fully immersive. When I say immersive, we're with you the whole time. Where we take away sleep, food, and pretty much everything that people take for granted. We're getting a little taste of that right now with coronavirus, but we take it much, much farther. And what we're doing is we're breaking you down, and we're going to rebuild you. Because we see the true caliber and test of a man and woman when we take away everything that they have. I mean, you don't know what time it is, sleep deprivation, you're hungry. That's where we break you down and we rebuild you. So that's what we're doing for individuals. And then what we did is we said, well, hell, this is working. Why don't we take the same fundamentals and principles and take them to companies? Because what happens is we have people like you, Dan, that'll come and you'll go to this course and you'll crush it. And then when you go back, even though you're moving 1,000,000 miles an hour, you're moving even faster. Your attention to detail, skill sets are better. You are just seeing things much more clearly. Your 4 principles of success, teamwork, problem solving, leadership, and communication, they're off the charts. But the problem is when you get back to people, even though I know you run a fantastic team, you're running even at a higher caliber than you were. So then what happens is myself and Steve Eckhart come in, the United States Marine, 7-figure entrepreneur, and we actually dialed down version of what you went through. Yours is much more intense. So we have everybody running on the same cylinders, right? Because my acronym of team is trust, effort, attitude, and mission. And if everybody doesn't have that and you're not running on all the same cylinders, it's just not going to work, brother.
Yeah.
So what are the most common physical and mental barriers that you really see with people when you're running them through this like Navy SEAL training type thing, and how do you push them through that?
What's funny is when I run them through this, they think like if we tell them, like today, I reached out to Dan and I said, hey, I want to do 1,020 push-ups in an hour. I did that on live today, and people are like, that's insane. But the problem is when we make them do something over and over and over and over again, it's not their body that's shutting down, it's their mind. So what we have to do is we go in and we reprogram them. So to answer your question, anything that makes people uncomfortable, I'm sorry, I hate to say that, but men these days, I mean, really, dropping the temperature, taking away they just automatically go to that defensive mode where people actually, they want to quit. And,
Yeah.
I'll pull them aside and say, if this is something that you wanted so bad, you came to us, why are you so able and willing to quit so easy? Then the question in turn is how many other things do you do this with? Are you doing this with your family, your finance and faith? And then that's kind of like a mental smack to the face to these men, and then they continue. It's just breaking those barriers, and it's really tough. And you have to approach it very delicately. Even though Dan sees me yelling at people all the time, we're very good at judging people, and we try to take them right to that red line and bring them back. You can't blow the engine. You have to take them right to the point of no return and then bring them back. You have to dial it down, and that's what we're doing.
Is that the ringing the bell? Can you explain that?
That ringing the bell is when they quit. And I make them ring the bell 3 times, quitting. 1 for quitting the team, 2 for quitting us, as in the instructors when they go through it, and 3 is quitting for themselves.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I've failed miserably, and I tell people, fail till you succeed. People ask me how I'm so successful. It's because I know some of the most successful people I know. I'm looking at one of them right now. I fail daily, and I tell people, if you're not failing, you're never going to.
Yeah.
You're never going to succeed. And people don't understand that, And all I do is, instead of taking it from a business aspect, I just take it from a mental aspect. Like if I told you couldn't do 1,000 push-ups or let's do 1,020 push-ups, you may say no, but I guarantee you can do it. You just need a little bit of the proper motivation, and we may need to extend that time.
So when you initially went into training yourself, what was the hardest part for you? Was it like the diet restrictions or the sleep deprivation? Like, was there a specific part that for you was like super difficult? And what did you tell yourself to make it through that?
Well,
emotions
Acai never wants to. I know Acai never wants to reveal his weaknesses, but mine was the underwater breathing. I did not. You have to hold your breath for 50 meters underwater. I practiced it a few times, and I kept blacking out, getting a shallow water blackout. Oh, so after about the third time, you have that inner voice in your head that starts telling you, hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't for you. You have to just kill that inner demon, that inner voice. And that's something that I've just had to learn how to conquer and do. But for me, it was that underwater breath hold. And I have a mentality that I'm not going to say here. I'll just say it's F-I-F-F-U. And that's my mentality with everything. It's like, hey, I'm here, and I've only got one shot at this. And that's, I've heard Nick speak and everybody, and the most precious commodity we have on earth is time. And I'm going to make the most out of it. And the only way that I'm going to do that is if I train the mind. The body will follow. It's all about training the mind from the inside out.
So in training, it's kind of like you build a structure. It becomes your family, right? I'm wondering, like, for people, for their group of people, how do you know when is the right time to support somebody and in some ways like coddle them compared to like when you should push them? Do you know what the difference is? Can you sense it?
Well, we put people for the project that we do right now. We make people fill out an extensive bio, so we know their demons, we know their pros, their cons, the things that are going to push them. And I think it's just through years and years of doing this. I was a SEAL instructor, Steve Eckhart and Bedros and everybody, we know everybody I know this is going to sound corny, but the eyes never lie. I just know, I just can read a man, and you can just tell by their body language, pupil dilation, the way that they're acting and responding, to the point where we know exactly when to push them and we know exactly when to pull away. And it's very rare that anybody slips through our radar. That's why there's 5 instructors there, because we all add our own special sauce to the blend. Bedros is very methodical. Steve is a madman. I'm a madman, but I'm caring. And then you have, the other 2 instructors that are very influential, who sit back and say very little, the silent Bobs of the group, and they observe and examine each other. And I'm sure you have people like that in your company too. Everybody has a part, and we just know how to read each other because we work together so well that we know how to do it. But this is what I'll tell you, everybody has a gift, and I tell everybody, when you come to the project, my gift is you're going to give me 1,000% or I'm going to take it from you anyway. And that's what we do. Yeah.
I like it. It's good.
Thank you.
Do you ever watch the Navy SEAL or military-related TV shows?
Yes, I do. Right now, I did a TV show called The Selection, and one of the guys that was on that with me is now one of the producers and the main actors from the show SEAL Team.
Nice.
So a lot of my friends that were actual SEALs are on that show, and they do a very good job of it. Now, as far as movies, I've never watched Lone Survivor or 13 Hours just because Glenn Doherty from 13 Hours was my best friend, and Danny Dietz, the one young man that died, the radio man and Lone Survivor, was I was his sea daddy. So I was his mentor, just like Bedros is mine. He's my mentor. So I've never watched the real SEAL movies, but I'll watch the TV shows. Yeah.
Got it. Questions?
Yeah, how do I get to do this? I've been every time I see you guys doing something, I keep getting so bothered. I want to be part of this.
She's ready for you.
I am so ready.
Okay, well, besides the project, we also have the LTD, which is where we would come, hint, hint, wink, wink, and we could come to the company and we would work with you. So what we do is we tailor a program according to your core values. And literally what it is, the physical aspect can be as little or as hard as you want. But it's more of, I'll give you an example of LTD. We've done this for a few companies where, Dan's the CEO of a company. And I could say, Dan, how many different revenue streams do you have in your company? Let's say you have 3 or 4, okay? You may have an employee that's only been with you for 3 or 4 months. He may only know one of your revenue streams. And then I'll ask him, what are your core values, Dan? And most companies have core values. He won't know your core values. So then my question is what we do is we go in and we fix the problem, because everybody thinks leadership is the problem and it's always the solution. And I'm going to tell you guys a little trade secret, because it's communication. Communication is always the problem. It's always the solution. We come through and we give you a lot of statistics about a lot of Harvard business studies, and you'd be amazed of how many emails aren't read when you do that. We have little tests and call outs that we do. So LTD goes in there and we actually will expose the weaknesses and the deficiencies, not to, make anybody mad or call anybody out, but for us as a team. So you have that trust, effort, attitude, and mission. You guys can fix that, right? You're bleeding. You've got to cover that wound so you can be more proficient. And then what are you going to do? You're going to be more productive, and it's going to make more profit. So that's what we do. So we're happy. I'm happy to come out there, ma'am, and work with you guys.
What would you say to somebody that's in their house and they're scared during this coronavirus?
I would say, you have to use caution, but don't change your POL, your pattern of life of what you normally do. Example, virtual church. We got up and had church this morning. We get dressed and we do it. Nothing changes. My wife and I, we work out. We just have to get more creative. But follow the rules, don't abuse them. And I think that if you keep a calm, cool head, this is like any other storm, guys. We're going to weather it, because that's what we do.
So being in the Navy, I'm sure everything's like very structured. Do you still live a very structured life? And do you find that having like a structured layout for your lifestyle is beneficial for most people or everybody?
I actually think structure is the key to success, and different tiers. I think there's 3 tiers, tier 1, 2, and 3 of how it needs to be. I have actually had to tone it down a little bit from my military career to my home life. But my wife is very structured. My daughter is very structured. And we just implement I implement the same core values and attitudes and techniques that I use in the SEAL teams to my home life, battlefield, business field, home field. Nothing changes. And that's where you develop that solid pattern of life, which is, what you do every day. My pattern of life is to get up and be better every single day.
So on that note, do you guys, are you big into like scheduling? Do you like to schedule things, put literally map things out? That's part of your core, or
yeah,
how does that work?
I do. I like to, but there are things we all know in life. Things happen. Max flex. Things are going to happen. So you have to be able to keep that calm, emotional discipline when things do change. Sure. I am very structured to the point where it drives Bedros and them crazy. I am OCD. I need to be, because here's my motto in life. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired. So I use that mentality with everything I do. I've passed it down to my children, my wife, and I think because everything that you do in life, you're being evaluated from the minute you meet someone. First time I met Dan, you're constantly being evaluated. So my thing is show up, have your A game on, and you better have that mentality and that mindset that you're going to conquer everything that gets in your way.
Awesome. Everybody can follow at RayCashCare. Go find out his content, enjoy what he's doing out there.
Yeah, and you can hit me up at www.theltdproject.com/finisher, and I have a little gift for you guys, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Much love.
Pleasure. All right. Our next guest, Miss Mona Muresan. She's very dedicated to the fitness world. You guys are going to enjoy this speech by her. We're going to ask her a lot of questions tonight. She's been on a ton of fitness magazines, just had a brand new baby, who's already bigger than me. It's absolutely amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mona.
Hey.
Hi guys, how are you?
I think Titan's like 11 months old. And he's already.
Oh my God, he's buff.
He's super cute, and yeah, he's pretty big for a year-old.
Oh, you guys had him swimming at like 6 months, right?
I'm sorry?
You had him swimming in the pool at like 6 months.
Oh, he started when he was about 3 months old, so 12 weeks.
That's so awesome.
And he's been swimming like almost every other day, unless it's raining and cold outside. Even when it's a little cold, we have a heating pool. So Mike takes him in and he swims. He loves it. We have to watch him now because he runs to the door. He opens the door and he wants to run out to the pool. Even though we have a gate, we're still nervous. So we constantly 24/7. That's a full-time job.
That's awesome. So if you could you give everybody some background for a couple minutes?
So Mona Muresan, I am a former editor-in-chief for Muresan Fitness Hertz magazine. Worked with other fitness titles while I was there, like Shape, Men's Fitness, Flex magazine. Also, which is my passion, I owned a steakhouse restaurant in Manhattan in the financial district, a high-end steakhouse, which I miss so much. I loved the restaurant business. So when I moved out here, I sold it. Moved from New York to LA, for everybody to understand. But and here I am. I'm Titan's mom now, and running business here with Mike.
Yeah.
It's definitely busy, and we're just, kicking ass.
What is your day-to-day life like between, you guys all have your own fitness journeys going on, you're both entrepreneurs, and now you have a son he's amazing. I mean, you already have him doing all these fitness things, so how do you go about your day-to-day life? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so he's definitely a full-time job, so we do have help. I need the help, but even with that, he still needs my attention through the day. So we get up as early as possible now with the, getting stuck in the house and all that, but we get our workout in, and then we get to work. We work online. Mike has clients and emails and whatever else needs to be done. So we constantly on the computers, on the phone, social media. As you know, that's huge now. Everybody's doing social media stuff. And by the time I say to Mike, I can't believe it's like 7 o'clock in the evening. Like, it's just soon we gotta go to bed. It's crazy. For me, the time goes real fast.
Oh, yes.
I cook, I clean, take care of Titan, 2 Titans. I'm loving it. It's not the travel part. It's amazing. I love it. Mike loves it as well. But now being able to be at home and to spend the time with Titan is just, it's a blessing for sure.
Did you guys talk about before having Titan how you guys were going to work in fitness into his lifestyle, or did that just kind of come about naturally because you guys are both so into it?
Trust me, we had a whole conversation. Okay, this was the deal. Mike will never miss an hour of sleep, a meal, or a trip. That was the deal. And I was totally okay with that. Actually, I think I might have said that to him. But we did IVF with Titan. So everything was pretty much planned out. We knew when Titan was coming. We knew how our life is going to be. We had my sister helping us, which is just amazing to just have such an amazing close sister to be able to actually take off work and come and stay with us to take care of Titan. So that gave me the time to go travel with Mike and not have to be stuck at home so he could go by himself. So I have to say maybe 1 or 2 trips Mike went by himself. All his other trips I was there because I had help with the baby. So it's really...
Yeah, you guys are great. What would be your advice for moms that are competitors and really into fitness that get pregnant? How did you mentally stay strong? Because I think for a lot of females, once you're already fit, it can be overwhelming to consider how are you going to go about getting back into shape after pregnancy?
So look, I had a great pregnancy. I'm not going to lie, but I was stress-free. I cut my workout back 60%. So I was going to the gym, getting a little bit of lifting here and there. I was taking tons of calories in because, as you know, all the moms want to be in shape. And I know some of my friends that they want to eat clean while they're pregnant. Well, we didn't do that. We are an incubator pretty much. So we had to feed the baby. So not being selfish, of course. And I'm an eater, I'm not gonna lie. So I ate as much as I needed to eat. I would say probably was it 2 months after I gave birth when I pretty much felt almost 100% back to normal. And it was pretty fast. I got back into the gym, started training, and eating pretty much high calories, and then kind of like cut back on just like, I'm a carb eater, so I eat a lot of breads and whatever, but I kind of putting a meal plan together, I should say, or a sort of so you have a diet plan. That's the key once you want to get on track. So Mike helped me, and I've listened, I have to say. He said, okay, you can't train, you can't do this, you can't do that. You have to listen to me because I think this is going to be good for you and the baby. And I'm so glad that I did listen. I snapped right back. I'm back now 100%. I could say I've been lifting with them. We've been doing a program that he put together, a Nightwing Power Bodybuilding program, and we're doing that at home. We have pretty lucky to have a gym at home. So it's been working out for us.
Awesome. So was that mentally easy for you, or was it kind of a struggle getting back into the gym after giving birth? Was that just a simple?
It was easy. It wasn't a struggle at all because we got ready. We knew what we were going to do. So we knew we were going to cut back on training, and we knew that we were going to eat more. So as we planned everything to do, as much as we say, you know what, this is how much you're going to eat. This is how much you're going to train. I wasn't stressed at all about training and everything else. I knew I was going to snap right back. So I'm pretty blessed, but at the same time, it took a little bit of work. I'm not going to lie.
Sure.
It's not like I woke up and say, hey, I'm back to normal. So
I love that it sounds like it was easier because you had already planned it out, and so you already knew kind of what to expect and where you're going. So that's really great.
100%.
So can you give us a bit of social media advice on how you incorporate the different aspects of your life? Because you have one world with Mike, one world with the baby, one world with yourself, and then also representing what you do. How do you juggle all of it?
What I put out on social media, it's pretty much the real stuff that I do day to day. So one day you'll see a picture of myself competing. One day you'll see me training heavy. One day you'll see me just, family pictures. So I'm pretty much keeping it real. It's nothing, social media these days, you guys know a lot of people make money off of it. They do a lot of promotions, so forth. And my page, we just keep it as family, as, just plain as possible. And we have 3 huskies. I see your dog is sitting there the whole time, right?
We have 2. Oh gosh, now she's like
I would never be able to have our dog sitting like that. They're like so humped up all the time. Oh my God, it's so funny. So, we have dogs, babies, family. That's all me. That's all my page. And what's out there is what it is. What you see is what you get with me, put it that way.
Yeah. So you have a restaurant background. Is that what helps you? Because you got to feed puppies, babies, and a really big boy with Mike.
So I should say I am a doer. I like to do things. I work 24/7. I wake up early in the morning. I remember when I moved from New York here, we were going to the gym at 4 a.m., get up at 3, and then I will not take a nap, and I will go through the day working, doing my restaurant work, doing emails, whatever else. And he will probably take a nap, and he said, how do you have so much energy? I don't know if it was like a New York thing or it's just me. I'm a go, 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 go. I never stop. So I don't know if it's the restaurant business that definitely kept me in check, but, and of course, responsibilities. But it's just me. I just like if you ever come over to my place, I'll feed you, I'll give you water, you'll feel like you're in a restaurant. I'll serve you. I'm not going to give you a bill, but it's just me. Yeah, I'm a doer for sure.
How do you plan out your time for the day since you have so many moving parts?
So I do have pretty much a plan. Every day it's something that I like to do. I like to get up and have my coffee. Then the next thing I do when my babysitter comes in now that we have Titan, I take the dogs for a walk. So that's my piece. It's probably 15, 20 minutes where I just have time to myself. I get on my phone with my sister or my mom or whatever. And then I get back, we train, and everything, work starts up, and by the time we're done, it's usually just 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's pretty much the same thing every day. Of course, through the day, I got to take care of Titan. And, now he started talking. So just hearing saying, Mama, it just melts my heart. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. So it's great.
So how do you keep up with your social media content through all this? Is it scheduled out?
I help. We have like 7 pages. So I handle pretty much, I overlook Mike's social media. So everything that comes in for Mike, I handle. Of course, we have a couple of the guys that are helping out. But like I overlook, I've done YouTube for a long time. I filmed, I edited, I did everything that you could imagine. I uploaded, I did the writing, everything that you could, camera person, you name it. I've done it all. Yeah, I know. It's like, it's magic. And so I would get up in the morning, make the meals. So I was a chef, go to the gym, film. I was a videographer, come home and edit the videos, upload everything, do this, do the social media, do the uploads for the swipe ups. And, so it's so much for so many pages. As you know, you got the natural saps and power bodybuilding, all that stuff. So it's a lot of work. I was telling Mike, we need more people. It definitely, you get so into social media. It's crazy. And you do so much. And the time is gone. You realize that, oh my goodness, it's like 3-4 hours. It's so much time.
What advice would you give to people that are stuck at home on how they can work out?
Listen, look on social media, on Instagram. You have so many home workouts. Everybody's doing it. There's apps out there. There's YouTube videos. Just get online, Google, whatever, pick a fitness person. The most important thing though is the nutrition. So make sure that before the workout or anything else, they stay on the nutrition, and they have to make sure that they have a meal plan. Like Mike says all the time, he could always change someone with the nutrition plan, but he cannot change someone just by working out. So nutrition first, then the gym and cardio.
So where can everybody find you and your businesses and what you're up to?
Just look up Mike O'Hearn. No, I'm just kidding. Well, you'll find me just Mona Muresan on Instagram, Facebook. I don't have a website. We do everything off Mike's website. I work there as well. So, if you guys have any questions at all, I've never been a trainer, but I've helped a lot of people, and I love helping people. So just hit me up or the DMs. I'm more than happy to answer questions.
Awesome. Mona, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being us inside of your home.
Oh, thank you guys. It's such a pleasure to be here. So thank you for including me. And you could come over anytime. I'm a pretty good cook.
Yeah, we're in. Sold.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. So our next guest, I actually speak about at a lot of the events that I speak at. I actually tell a story about him because it's such a fun story. I'm going to tell it when we get on here. But basically, actually, I'm going to start off with the story. I'm going to give some background. So he was in the Midwest, and he was messaging me, texting me, DMing me about wanting to come to LA. And he got like 40,000 followers at the time. He was doing some training camps. And I was like, you know what? Why don't you come out here? That'd be fun. See if you can get a camp planned out here. So he planned a camp, got some kids together, flew him out. He said he was going to stay for the weekend, stayed for like 5 months. It was perfect. And what happened was like a month into it, he was messaging with these different NBA players and different musicians. And all of a sudden, he tells me, he's like, hey, we got to go to Diddy's house tomorrow. I was like, okay, sure. So I canceled my schedule. We go to Diddy's house. And I started recording him, and he's training Diddy's kids on the court. Everything's going good. We come back. He books him again. Diddy books him again. We come back like 3 or 4 times. And then one day it's like 10 p.m. And he's knocking on my door. He's like, dude, look at this. I just gained like 80,000 followers because Diddy and his son both posted about them training. Fast forward, Dribble Too Much got over 1 million followers. He's now done commercials with the Jordan brand with Steph Curry. He's training Drake, all these amazing characters. Like it's just such a whirlwind. I love to watch going from a literally his startup costs were a basketball and a dream. Like everybody thinks they need to have all this huge money behind them. He just had passion. He turned that basketball into a multi-million-dollar company. Please welcome at Dribble Too Much.
And Kobe.
What's up? Thank you. I just wanted a young Dribble wanted to say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Hey.
What's up, man? How you doing, Dan? Man, thanks for having me. This is awesome. Good seeing both of you. I love seeing both of you guys together, and that intro was amazing, man, and it's absolutely true.
You should see when I do it on stage, I'll send you some clips. I get into it because I always talk about. I'm like, you guys all talk about how social media is bad and this and that. That's like this much. Let me tell you some stories, and I tell that story. So if you could give a quick background about yourself, and we'll dive into some questions.
Yeah, man. My name is Johnny. People call me Dribble Too Much. I started with in Oklahoma. I played basketball for college at Liberty University. Graduated, and then after school, I was just in the middle of trying to play in the NBA and going overseas and traveling everywhere. Just love basketball and trying to be a professional athlete. And sometimes with injuries and stuff like that, I've never got the chance to actually go, but it didn't stop me from. And I started this brand called Handle Life, and my back was to the wall. I ain't had nothing, like all of us, man. I just didn't have no other option but to just believe in myself and believe in the dream. Started working at retail at Nike in Oklahoma, and I got inspired by Bill Bowerman, who started the Nike brand and training all of these athletes, and he was just a track coach. And it made me believe that I can teach my knowledge with handles. And I looked at all the brands that were started, like Under Armour football. I looked at soccer with Adidas, and there was no brand for basketball. So at the time, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was really good at dribbling the basketball, and I had handles. And I just put it both together. And I said, I'm going to put 2 feet into it and train people every day and build my own brand called Handle Life. And I quit Nike. Then I started doing commercials for them in a couple of years.
So crazy. So tell us a bit about the camps that you do where you're training kids in groups, and then tell us a bit about private one-on-one trainings.
Yeah, so I got several different ways I train my clients. I do a lot of camps all around the world. I have another trainer that's branched off in Florida that does more of the youth training. Me, I'm more focused on the brand and training like some of the top celebrity athletes and NBA athletes. And I also have like different on the tech side. I have applications where you can learn dribbling skills right from your mobile device at home. Right now I'm doing live streaming sessions in my backyard and training kids like with big groups of kids live on Zoom. And I just travel all around the world and promote the brand and still have the same mindset that I had when nobody knew about.
That's great. You train a lot of kids, but individuals in general, I think a lot of us, there are moments when we think that maybe we can't do something. What would be the thing that you wish you could tell somebody in that moment to get them to keep going towards their dream?
Yeah, whether it's basketball or, business or anything that you want to do in life, I think what's made me very successful in what I do is I never really quit. I feel like even when I started dribbling the basketball at a young age, I grew up in the hood in Boynton Beach, Florida, and I always had a dream to, play in the NBA. I just had one goal that I really wanted to do real bad, and I didn't worry about how many times I, lost the basketball practicing or how many shots I missed. I just wanted to put in more effort and more work than everybody else. So I don't really believe people can't do something. It's all about how much time that you have to put towards that thing that you want to do.
And I think about a year or two ago, actually it was about 2 years ago, you decided you want to do music as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So music, with Instagram and social media, I was always editing. I wore a lot of different hats. A lot of people see me as the basketball trainer, but I'm the one that's editing the video. I'm putting the music behind it. I'm doing production. I'm producing different video content, and I started sneaking in my music in the background of all the videos that I was posting on social media. And I just, I learned it from Nike, and there was a certain type of way when I was working in retail. When you walk in the store, there's a certain type of music is playing, and when you give you that warm feeling, that makes you want to purchase something. So I treated my page the same way. I wanted to give them basketball music. So when they come to my page, they just feel like they're in this basketball environment. And when they watch a video, it makes them want to play and it makes them want to train. So I started doing a lot of music, putting behind my videos, and that grew into me licensing my music for another business, like for ESPN, NBA 2K, and just licensing all around and doing different features with OT Genesis and Kevin Durant, and it's still focused on sports. I just wanted to mentally train people at the same time. Like if a kid's listening to, Turn Up in the Club before a game, my theory is like I can make that same type of song, but I could be talking about the skills that they need to be learning at the same time.
So where can people find your music? How can they listen to it? Is it all on your social?
Yeah, Dribble Too Much on all platforms. It's great from Apple Music, Spotify. It's just Dribble Too Much in any platform that you listen to music. And for all the trainers that I've been watching on here, if you need any type of motivational music, sports music, I'm open to making songs for your gyms, making songs for your platforms, and all of it is clean music that can go with an audience.
So you have different divisions of your company. Obviously, you have merchandise with the products. You have equipment. You have the training sessions. Like, tell us about the business world and how you decide what to focus your energy on.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. It's because I'm so talented in so many different areas. Sometimes it get hard, but I have to always go back to basketball because that's what got me here, and that's what got everybody to know about me is dribbling. So, with these different businesses I have, I said, I'm gonna focus on basketball, make it the centerpiece, but then I'm gonna build all these other sub companies from music production for basketball content, and then with the merch, still basketball merch, and with the products and developing a tool that can help increase handles. With my brand and my training brand, it's more specific to ball handling, like dribbling skills. There were no dribbling coaches. There were strength and conditioning. There were shooting coaches, but there was nobody actually teaching moves. And when I was watching the NBA and watching the game, how it's developing over time, it's like if you cannot dribble the ball or move or be mobile with the basketball, then you really don't get playing time on the floor. So I was a little bit ahead of time, and I made it a specific niche to focus on handles. So everything that I have with the multiple business, it all comes back to handle life and focusing on dribbling as a dribbling coach.
So for the coaches that are watching or instructors that are watching, how do you determine your price points compared to, since you're training celebrities and athletes, how do you determine, do you work for them for free at first? Do you charge a super high premium? Like, just talk about that side of, so somebody out there that wants to get into your space one day, how do they do it?
When I first started training, man, I was training a lot of people for free and just, perfecting the craft and just learning from these athletes too. Because the truth, Gilbert Arenas was one of my first clients that I was training, for free. And the truth of it, to determine a price, I just try to give the value and learn as much as I can until where there's so many people that need me now. Now they want me. Hey man, can you come this day? Can you come that day? But at the first, from the beginning, I just want to show the value and show that the product actually works. That I know what I'm talking about. I know that I can help you. And nowadays, if I can give any advice to anybody out there, is you got to make sure you have a good selling product that actually works before you go to market. And that's kind of what I did with my training. I trained Kevin for free. I trained Gilbert for free, Nate Robinson for free. Then after a year later, then now everybody else is offering me to, pay me a check to come fly down and work out with.
So I remember we were bowling for your birthday last year, and out of nowhere, the same scenario happened where you showed me your phone and Drake posted you. No notice. You didn't even talk to him in 3 days, and all of a sudden, just happy birthday, showing a video of you guys playing together. Like, just thinking about the last half a decade of that, going from Oklahoma to coming to my crib, to you going and putting in the work, like, that story to me, honestly, it comes natural to me to talk about over and over and over and over because it's a true dream. Like, if you can take a basketball and turn it into having the biggest celebrities and athletes and the biggest brand in the world, having Jordan do a commercial with you, it's honestly crazy. But I say in the fact, like, the business side of it, people don't put in that effort. there's millions of kids with a basketball that don't do it. There's millions of kids with weights, they don't become JustTrain. Like, millions of people have access to the same things that you guys have. They just don't put in the work or the mindset that you guys do.
Yeah, it's definitely the mindset thing. That basketball is such a, training in general is such a great, sport or great business, but the basketball brings everybody together. Even people who don't, actually play basketball, it's interesting to just watch basketball and LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Jordan, even if you never touched the basketball before. And it's all about who puts the most time into it. And I think about that too a lot, Dan. I'm like, a lot of people have this little round basketball, but it's all about what you do to it. Because without that basketball, I wouldn't be training Drake. I wouldn't be training NBA guys. I wouldn't have camps and clinics all around the world. But it's all about the time that I put into that basketball. Everybody has the same resources, but it's all about how much time are you putting into that and how much do you believe in what you're doing. And if you fail, are you okay with that and getting up the next day and doing it again and doing it again and doing it again? And that's just a secret formula for success that has been working for me the last, decade of my life.
So what are some advice tips that you could say for your social media content? Like, you create a lot of different content besides your core, which is the basketball tips. How do you come up with those things, and what advice would you give?
Yeah, with social media, the advice I would say is when you go to somebody's page on social media, and it's something that I had to, trial and error. You got to go to a page for a specific reason. When Instagram first started off, when you came to my page, you came there for dribbling drills, moves, and skills, and all of these different things. So, but then I started growing more as an entrepreneur and a business mindset, and I wanted to implement products and implement music, and then now brands were reaching out to me. And some of that stuff is you got to still focus on the same thing, but you can implement it in the same way. If I want to implement my music, I'll put it behind a video that the people are coming for. If I want to implement a product, I will wear the t-shirt in the same video that I'm focused on. So when it comes to advice and tips for Instagram, you have to have a special niche. It's like a niche market, and everybody goes to these different pages to see a special niche, and that's how you grow your audience. And if you go away from that, you'll lose followers and all type of stuff. You got to find out what is that thing that you're comfortable with living every single day and posting every single day, so you can gain, an audience.
So where can people find you, find your businesses, find your brands? What can they find your world?
You can find my world. Instagram is a great resource for me, like my website now. Instagram, Dribble Too Much, or handlelife.com. And in all platforms, as far as the application market, you'll see different training apps you can use to, dribble the basketball. And if you like sports, and handlelife.com has all of my camps and clinics, dates and schedules that you can sign up for.
Are you on TikTok yet?
Yes, I'm in TikTok. Crazy thing about TikTok, I started posting, like most of the popular audience the popular videos from my Instagram, and just putting that popular video in TikTok, and it started going crazy, and I gained like 20,000 followers in a week. And I just got on that platform. It's, it's hot right now. It's like when Instagram first started. So if you're not on TikTok, I suggest you get on there right now and just start posting your popular content from Instagram and throwing it in TikTok.
Yep. Awesome. Johnny, it was a pleasure having you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Love both of you guys. Brittany said hi. She's with the baby.
Bye.
And I've been watching all day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
All right, man. See you.
All right. So for our final guest, you guys have probably seen him on social media. He's built up over 6 million followers just on one platform, just from creating true content about trying to save the planet, save the animals. He is so inspiring to watch. We've watched him go to multiple countries during some of the most intense situations, dealing with everything from poachers, just all across the board. He's an advocate for animals and our planet. Please welcome Mike, the RealTarzann.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Am I there?
Thanks for being a late call out there.
Can you guys see me, hear me?
Yeah.
All right. What's up, guys? What's going on?
Oh, can you take off the sharing your screen?
Yep, hold on 1 second.
All right, so Mike's in Miami, so we got a late night from him. It's around 11 o'clock out there. And then once he stops sharing his screen, we're going to have him do a quick bio, and then we're going to dive right into some questions. Boom.
Boom. Fixed it. Sorry.
All good. So if you could give a 1 or 2 minute bio about yourself, and then I got some really good questions for you.
For sure. I like your doggies, by the way. What kind of dogs are those?
Oh, they're Chihuahuas. One's just like really tiny compared to the other one. I don't know what's happening.
How many dogs do you have over there?
Man, I started on social media about like 2 years ago. I think we just hit our 2-year mark just this past January. And man, as you know, it's just been like a catastrophic boom of just followers and trips and interactions with people, meeting new animals, going to new places, new countries, new everything, man. You know, same game plan since a little kid. And it's cool to be able to see my dreams come true on a social platform. I mean, to me, I'm a caveman at heart. You know, I'm a 100% animal guy. So like, I'm knee deep in dog poop and shoveling lizard crap and counting crickets and, you know, saving, you know, roadkill. That's been my thing since a kid, you know. So it's been pretty cool to, you know, transform and learn as I go. I still learn every day. I learn a lot from you. You know, I used to follow like 3,000 people and wiped it all away, and I got like 100 people left. And I said, man, I gotta follow Dan. I learned so much from you on a daily basis. So and I appreciate you as a young entrepreneur.
Thank you. So for years, you were working with animals at different facilities before you got onto social media, and then you just skyrocketed. I think the true nature of that, meaning you lived and breathed it. You were not just out there posting about animals to get views or likes or followers. You lived and breathed it. You were protecting. You're spending a ton of money. Listen, we know how it costs a ton of money to feed this many animals. Like every time you bring in new animals, every time you bring in new animals, you're bringing in new overhead to yourself. And so, could you just talk about that transition?
Yeah, man. I mean, everything I do is for the animals, you know. So I keep about like 10% for myself, and 90% goes to straight animals. You know, like my life has always revolved around animals and the care for animals. So like the stuff that I need isn't like what the normal person is going to need. So I have no problem making money, making funds, creating things, doing projects, fundraisers or whatever, you know, because it all goes straight to my kids and other people's organizations. You know, I don't want to just be dedicated to one thing, one species of animal. I want to help them all. So I take in rescue cows, aggressive snakes, you know, dogs, you know, old birds people don't want anymore, you know. So it's just like a plethora of different varieties of fruit. Some animals come in, you know, and I buy stuff in bulk, and they sometimes eat the same things. Sometimes I got to get new things. I just recently got 4 new goats, you know, and a cow. So, you know, and instead of getting one bag of livestock feed, I'm going through, you know, a bag of livestock feed that will last me 2 weeks. It's now only lasting me 3 days. You know what I'm saying? So now I have to spend X amount of dollars, you know, 3 days instead of a 14-day span.
Right.
But it's all calculations. It's all mental for me because I'm in every animal's nutritional diet. I'm in their brain. I'm in what they're drinking. You know, so I've got close to almost 100 animals. So everybody has to be tended to and touched on a daily. You know, some are more hands off, some are more hands on. You know, some eat more than others. Some eat once a week, once a month. Some eat every day. Some eat 3 times a day. So do people come to Tarzana, or is that private? Is that just you and your animals? Well, for me, it's more so it's private. You know, of course, I bring certain influencers, certain celebs to spread the proper message. But you know, I feel a lot of places are getting the wrong perception of what conservation education is. It's not selfies. It's not coming here to get the cool next hot photo for your timeline on a Saturday. You know, it's all about the animals. So me and my team are really trying to redirect from bringing tons and tons of people as the normal person would do with followers or clout or animals. I'm not trying to get people here to say, hey, X person came to my house. I'm trying to, you know, get the animals as comfortable as possible because this is their home. You know, I build the cages for them. I feed them. You know, I love them, and I want them to be happy here at their home. I don't want people coming in and out, you know, That's like someone coming into your house and knocking on your bedroom door trying to take a photo of you when you're trying to brush your teeth or eat. It's just like,
great.
And I'm pretty sure they feel it's annoying, you know? So I like to give their peace and their space and their alone time.
So the last 3 weeks, obviously, the number one TV show in history with Tiger King. Tell us about how that's impacted your world, because you're one of the most famous in the space, obviously. How's that impacted your world with so much hype and media about it? They had 38.7 million viewers in the first.
So crazy.
That is insanity.
That's nuts, man. You know, it's funny to see that type of stuff on international TV, because it's a part of my everyday life of what I've been in. You know, it's new to everybody else. So like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is cool. Or however else they see it, you know, but to me, it's just like, it's a normal day. You know, it's just, it's what I classified as the norm, you know, for my whole life. And it's probably a bad thing to say it's the norm, but like I say all the time, animal people are crazy. People look at me like I'm probably crazy, you know, having all types of crazy animals or wearing a scarf or having feathers on my ceiling fan. They probably just think I'm a lunatic, you know, but everybody has their own perspective or perception of what it is. I thought it was really good to showcase a lot of people that are in my space that don't have the right intentions, that have the power, that have been in leadership for 20 years, and they're not doing what's supposed to be done.
Yep.
You know, that's where I say I want to change. That's why, you know, stuff like that. I watch stuff like that, and it's like, man, I don't want anybody coming to anywhere near any animals. I want to close all zoos down now, you know what I'm saying, and let it be just private, make a virtual zoo or something, you know, because I feel like we all have lost so many animals in the process of just glorifying these people that have the animals instead of the animals, you know?
Yep.
So
what's your ultimate vision for your facility? What would you like
just
to do?
a retirement home, man. This is just one spot for me, you know? This is just Florida. This is just LA. There's a whole world out there. You know, Tarzann is just a fort. It's a retirement home for local animals that need a place to go to live their best lives. You know, I've got animals that in all reality don't cost nothing but $30 or $100, and they live in $1,000 cages and setups because they just want them to live better than what they lived before, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you got birds that lived 80 years old in the first 30 years of their life, lived in a small cage in somebody's living room. So if they come to my house, they come to my facility, I get a chance to rescue them. I build them some 20-foot cage, like 10-foot, and get them 5 or 6 girlfriends. You know? Or boyfriends, you never know. Certain animals different.
How it seems like the whole animal thing, especially in Florida, is pretty crazy. So the amount of times you've probably gotten no's or it's been difficult to get animals out of these cruel situations, how did you keep pushing through it? What did you tell yourself, or how did you get through those moments and keep persevering?
I mean, it's tough, man. You know, it's real tough seeing, you know, animals on the negative side. You know, I'm always trying to put animals in a positive light. I don't even like showing animals, you know, biting me, because it's, you know, people call it as clickbait or get a lot of views, but I don't even want to put the animal in a bad perspective, you know? So when I see him when I see him in a bad state, my heart just instantly clicks into, you know, any mode possible. When I go to like a place and there's 100 animals there and 70 are doing all right and 20 are doing not so good, you know, and 10 of them are doing completely horrible on the last brink of death, I'm the type of person to come take the 10 and try to save the 10 and let the rest, you know, try to save themselves. If I even did that math right, I probably screwed it up.
So with the animals,
I just want to help, man.
Can you tell us a bit about, is there any actually like health and fitness with the animals? Are you working out the animals? Is there certain animals need to go out there running and working out?
Absolutely. You know, my goats are real nimble. They like to run around and climb up mountains and stuff. My dogs are active, you know, so, you know, I may not hit the gym every day, but I'm constantly trying to throw a ball 100 yards so they can run out 10, 15 times a day. So my arm gets pretty sore. I'm carrying wood, you know, big logs to build cages all across the field. So I'm cranking out cardio. I'm cutting up pounds and pounds of fruit and vegetables. So instead of being somewhere eating some junk food, I'm like, man, I'm starving, but I got a lot of work to do. Let me eat this apple. Let me eat this banana. You know, I'm filling the kids' water bowls up, and I'm like, man, I'm thirsty myself. Let me just down some water. I just drink out the hose. Like I said, I'm a caveman, so it definitely helps, you know.
Since you spent so much time and effort on understanding what specific diets these animals should have, has that in any way impacted the way that you eat personally in your own diet?
It kind of desensitized me in a sense, because I've kept a lot of carnivorous animals, over my lifetime. So I've always been one to feed animals to other animals, and it's just like I can't feed certain animals lettuce or fruit. They just don't eat it. They just can't eat it. They don't have the ability or capability to eat it, So from my perspective, I've learned, especially going on social media these past 2 years, about different healthy choices to eat, like being a vegan or being a pescatarian or just cutting down your meat intake in half. And, so there's different things I've been trying and implementing, and they definitely work for sure.
Are there any tips or tricks for people at home that have, whether it's dogs or other animals, is there certain things that you should be feeding them, or how can they work out?
Yeah, definitely for feeding them, trying to give them healthy snacks. I always give my dogs like a piece of chicken, or a piece of steak, or, I'll try to slide an apple in there, So every time they're coming up the bag, I may try to slide in something that's different than they're used to. There's certain days where, a couple of my lizards and tortoises are not supposed to eat a lot of fruit because it's high in sugar. So some days I give them cheat meals. I'll go out and after eating, they have 6 days worth of greens. On Sunday, I'll come out and throw a bunch of strawberries and, bananas and green apples and just stuff they like to eat that's just sweet. Just give them a little treat, keep them happy. Stimulates their brain and mine too. See, I like to see them happy when they come running from one area because I got a whole flock of bananas in my hand, and then when I have all the greens in my hand, they kind of run a little slower,
So with the dog, you have a lot of dogs over there. Is there any tips or tricks for dogs on how to get them to work out so they're not just sitting around the house all day like these guys?
Yeah, man, just going on some jogs, going on some runs, playing fetch, swimming. I just taught one of my dogs how to swim, so he's been jumping in the pool nonstop. So we have a good pool time to swim back and forth. Like I said, if you're in the city, you can go on some good night walks, good talks with your dogs. Talk to your dog like your best friend. Treat him like your best friend. Your dog can understand what you're saying. He understands your feelings, your emotions. He's happy all the time. So just go on a walk, make him happy. When you see him happy, it makes yourself happy. And then you guys just did some exercise together and repeat it, So it's just good, positive experience you want to keep having with your dog, which generates into your actual life every day. Makes you a happy person.
So you were ripped. Is there something that made you want to get into the fitness space? Or, how did that happen when you were in the animal space?
Well, my dad's always been into like fitness, way back in the day. And I've always wanted to be I wanted to look like Tarzan when I was a kid. I wanted to have that. I wanted to have big forearms and big legs and nothing else. So I guess I do have good genetics, in a sense. But I have a personal trainer. He's like my big brother. He's been along this journey for 2 years. I mean, he slaps food out of my hand. He calls me and makes sure I'm doing my cardio. So when we're going on trips, we're doing push-ups on the airplane. So on and so forth. So I have a good team around me that makes sure I eat whatever I like to eat, and also make sure I don't like to eat what I like to eat because I like to eat a lot of bad stuff.
All right, so we're going to give out 10 winners. That's our last 1 minute real quick. We're going to give out 10 winners, 30-day free membership to 100millionacademy.com. And the question is, how many animals approximately does Tarzan take care of at Tarzana? What is the number of animals? Well, that's a lot of answers. A lot of answers coming in already. What is the number of animals that Tarzan is taking care of at Tarzana? We're going to pick out 10 winners. You're going to get 30 days. There's a lot of... All right, you know what? We're going to pick out 20 winners. 20 winners are going to get a free $100 a month pass to 100millionacademy.com. All right, Tarzan, before we go, what are your thoughts on 2020? What do you want to tell the people?
Yo, buckle up. Stay strong. Keep those horse blinders on. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on the outside. Stay focused. If you feel like stuff's going backwards, go 10 times harder forward. Don't give up. Don't of course, keep your social distancing, but yo, buckle down. Take this time to reinvent yourself. Yo, we're going hard over here. Yeah. We are not stopping. We're taking this time to be like, hey, if everybody else is stopping, we're about to run harder. Yo, if you're watching this, go hard. Don't go home. Stay home and make your internal home the best mansion you can possible. Because when it's free time, go out there and get it. You're going to be stronger. Everybody's going to be happy. 2021 is not your year. This is your year. Make it better.
Awesome. I'm not going to say anything else. Let's just end the show right there. That's just too good. Everybody, please give it up for the real Tarzan. All right,
love you guys. See you guys soon, all right, man?
Thank you for watching our third virtual elevator nights. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.